chords.
That's my warm up there. That's my go-to. Family,
Do it again in case it
family,
wasn't picking.
family, family. That's my levels all checked.
All right, good. Oh,
Oh, look at
Pitch
that.
Black and the Chronicles of Riddick, two movies.
Yes, and I watched Riddick too. I decided
Oh, yeah, the movie just called Riddick. I
just
did
called
not watch
Riddick.
that one, but Hugh did, so he can tell us a little bit about that one when we get to it. Hello there, fine people on the internet. How are you? Hope you're doing well. As I mentioned on Twitter, this we're gonna talk about really cool, epic, and awesome movies today about Vin Diesel wearing a black tank top and being really cool and epic and awesome. Now, before we really get any further, because I really think it is going to be what ties this whole stream together, are you, Hugh, and people listening, familiar with Red Letter Media's black tank top theory?
I believe we talked about this during our stream on Fast and Furious, but why don't you remind the good people what the black tank top theory is?
Uh, Broadly speaking, Red Letter Media coined the black tank top theory of like ego-driven, self-insert Gary Stu styled like wish fulfillment fantasies in movies. This shows up a lot on Best of the Worst, their little show. Movies like Get Even, but it's scrunched together so it looks like Get Even. Also, Neil Breen in Double Down. There's a consistent pattern wherein when sort of middle-aged guys create movies where they're the really cool, awesome action hero, Gary Stu guy, and they're just so epic and cool and awesome. They often wear black tank tops to show off their muscles and look really cool and awesome while they,
Yeah.
do epic and awesome things. It's such a consistent pattern. And then I realized today when you brought it up, Hugh, that not only is Vin Diesel wearing a black tank top in both Pitch Black and the Chronicles of Riddick, but also in the first Fast and Furious movie and also in Triple
Oh,
X.
yes, he is.
He
He sure
obviously
is.
he isn't the first to do it, but he mainstreams the black tank top theory more than anyone else has ever had in the history of filmmaking.
He's built the
He,
most successful career off of the black tank top movie, I would argue. Three franchises that have all done, something. I was gonna say multi-million dollar returns, but I don't know if that's entirely. Oh, I guess it is entirely true. It's always made a lot of money, but maybe not enough money to justify the spend. We will get all into that one on this stream because I find this franchise to be one of the more fascinating in the Vinomatic universe, as I like to put it. Uh,
yeah.
Especially the story behind the decisions to make these movies in the first place, I think, is kind of
Well, I think
especially
I didn't see Riddick. When did that come out? 2013?
2013. There's a
Yeah.
fourth movie slated for release sometime within the next
Of
couple of years.
of course there is,
Yeah,
right?
well, because
Because
10 years. 10
even if
years.
these movies have never actually been all that successful at the box office, uh they're still like, okay, what do we have? What haven't we remade or made a legacy sequel to yet? And they're like, fuck it. Why not Chronicles of Riddick? That has sort of a cult following, right? Let's crank out another one of those. Oh,
I,
that's gonna
I, you
bomb at
know,
the
I,
box
it
office. I
could
can't wait.
either be that, or it could literally just be Vin Diesel willing it into existence, and I'm almost more willing to gamble on on it being the latter.
Well, yeah, I think part of the reason he can will it into existence is because there is that attitude of like, okay, what do we have? Fuck it, another Chronicles of Riddick movie? Sure, why not?
Yeah.
The-
Vin, what do you got for us? Fuck it. Chronicles of Riddick 4. Okay, yeah.
Well, I think the most, so like I said, I didn't see Riddick, the third one, because we're mostly going to be talking about the ones people have seen. But the interesting thing to me about this franchise is the shift between movie one and movie two.
it
Oh
is
boy, is
quite
it
wild.
huge. It's a massive shift.
This is
Everything from like retconning what species Vin Diesel is,
yeah. Okay,
everything.
it is a very I called my dad the other day when I was doing some of this research because I did not know any of this from, before we, decided to do this for the stream. All I knew was that these movies existed and that as a kid I loved them. I
Yes.
I was like, this is the coolest shit ever. Chronicles of Riddick, that's great. Doing some cursory research, you come to realize that Pitch Black, the first movie in this franchise, right, is a relatively low budget, by the numbers space horror story, right? I mean, it's a monster
$23
horror.
million in
23 million
2000.
in 2000,
Yeah.
right? That's not huge. It's not it's not tiny, but it's not colossal, right? Didn't make any of it back, really. Not at the box office. Was kind of a flop. But it garnered a bit of a cult following with the DVD sales, and that's how I knew about the movie, was exclusively from watching it on
Blockbuster.
DVD.
It was a blockbuster type movie.
Vin Diesel, it also was the movie that sort of launched Vin Diesel's star power, because this came out in 2000, Pitch Black. Then in 2001, Fast and Furious, and then in 2002 or 2002 or 3, I believe, let me make sure, is Triple X. So Pitch Black 2000, Fast and Furious 2001, Triple X 2002, and then a couple of years off, of like the real trend-setting ones. But those were the big three that
Sure.
kind of propelled him into stardom. He had refused sequels up until this point of his career. This is the first sequel that he decides to do, is Chronicles of Riddick. He had refused Too Fast.
He didn't wait. He didn't wait very long.
No, he didn't. He what? So he refused to do Too Fast, Too Furious because he thought the first one was a classic and a bad sequel would harm its legacy, quote unquote.
That's pretty
So
funny
he
in
refused
hindsight.
hindsight.
You know, sorry, I'd like to amend that. That's hilarious in hindsight. That's
It is, isn't it just? The first one was a classic film, and he refused Too Fast, Too Furious because he didn't want it to harm the legacy. I assume the reason he refused Triple X 2 was also because of that. Something
everything
similar.
he does is a classic.
Everything he
obviously.
does is an absolute banger. But he did agree to do the cameo at the end of Tokyo Drift for free, just as long as Universal turned over the entire intellectual property rights to the Chronicles of Riddick series to him.
Oh fuck! Really? That's
Yes.
incredible.
That is the entire the only reason he did that cameo was because he wanted to make more Riddick movies.
Oh my goodness. So I had heard that he got the rights to the franchise at some point, but I did not know that it was in exchange for a cameo at the end of Tokyo Drift.
Yes.
That's...
And so he gets the rights to make the sequel to Pitch Black, again, relatively by the numbers Alien clone, right? Like it's pretty much the same, pretty much a similar kind of thing.
I want to, so Pitch Black really quick. I want to say one of the things when I started watching it again, the first thought was, oh, it's Alien, because I hadn't seen it in years. I totally forgot what happened in it, and I was like, oh, it's Alien, but Vin Diesel is the alien. And then I'm like, no, it's not that. It's Vin Diesel looking at Alien and Aliens and saying, if I were there, it wouldn't have gone down like that. A la Mark Wahlberg in United 93.
Yes, exactly. So he gets himself the rights to this franchise to produce a sequel. And Universal at the same time, and this is what boggles my mind about this franchise, is they are looking around at the landscape of film in 2003, 2004, and realizing that the biggest movie of that time, maybe even of the entire decade, has just come out in The Lord of the Rings. And they decide, oh, well, we should probably throw our hat in the ring on a fantasy epic kind of like that. What do we have that we can, throw some money at? How about a sequel to Pitch Black? Let's literally quintuple
make
the
that
budget
into a sci-fi fantasy
and
epic,
make it into a sci-fi fantasy
giant
epic.
warring armies and different classes of creatures and magic and all that sort of
A
fun
$23 million movie that failed to bring in box office success. The follow-up gets $125 million to create.
Either they were just just big risk takers in that little time period, or the DVD sales must have been extraordinary because
That is
that's a
insane.
big jump in the budget for sure.
Absolutely insane. That and the movie Chronicles of Riddick wasn't, to the shock of only Vin Diesel, I'm sure, not a huge success box office numbers wise. However, it spawned a video game for the Xbox called Chronicles of Riddick Escape from Butcher Bay. Now, I had heard of this game. I never played it when I was a kid because I didn't have an Xbox. But apparently, I was doing some research on this one too. Apparently, widely considered one of the greatest video games ever made.
It is certainly very well reviewed. You know, I when you first told me that, I was like, "There's no way I've never heard anyone talk about it." But I don't know, gamers in the chat will let us know about that game and its reputation. It's incredibly well reviewed. I had never heard anyone talk about it, but
Yeah, I've never I it's incredible the way the trajectory that this franchise has gone on, and the fact that anybody thought this would like that this would succeed the way that it that, like, to gamble on it like this.
yeah,
um it's also kind of crazy too because, like, so I my girlfriend had never seen these movies before. It's one of the very few,
understandable.
like, mid 2000s unk slop movies series that her father did not make her watch when she was growing up. And so we watched the first one, and I stopped it afterward, and I said, "So if I told you that they made a sequel to this movie, what would you think the plot of that sequel would be?" And she basically gave me the answer. She was like, "Well, they probably somebody hires them to recover something from that planet that they forgot, and so they have to go back and basically aliens, right?" Um and I was like, so waited until for the shoe to drop that actually it's a sprawling fantasy sci-fi epic that's a strange pseudo-Islamic mix of Dragon Ball and Warhammer 40K.
And a little bit of Lord of the
And a
Rings
little
and the
bit of
Matrix
Lord of the Rings
sequels.
and the Matrix.
The Matrix sequels especially. There's a lot of all things. Um and only, it's funny because Pitch Black has I mean, it's mostly other things, but there is a little bit of the Matrix in there, but only the stuff not in the Matrix, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Just all
it's
the stuff on the
it's
ship.
it's quite impressive that would be. But so we finish Chronicles of Riddick, and of course I ask her, now, if I told you they made a sequel to this movie, what do you think the sequel would be? And her answer was essentially, like, the Two Towers, right? Or a Star Wars Empire Strikes Back kind of thing. And I was like, no, actually, what we do is we basically just go back to Pitch Black. That now we basically just make Pitch Black 2.
Oh, Dave Bautista was in Riddick?
Dave Bautista was in Riddick, yeah.
That's
And the
funny.
chick who played Starbuck in Battlestar Galactica, she plays in Riddick, she plays a lesbian until she decides that Riddick is just too masculine and sexy, that she just probably shouldn't be a lesbian anymore. And
The
that's how
black tank top theory,
Black Tank Top
undefeated.
Theory is undefeated. Vin Diesel proves the rule. What?
So it's a fascinating little franchise, as we sort of already hinted at. Pitch Black is the most normal and restrained in the franchise. It appears. Chronicles of Riddick gets absolutely bonkers and changes into a completely different genre in general. But let's start with Pitch Black. We'll
Yeah,
do some
what's
overall thoughts, and then we'll jump into it. Because man, the shift between the two is probably the most remarkable
it
thing
is
for me.
quite incredible. Yes.
So Hugh, what are your overall thoughts? What do you think of Pitch Black? Is it good? Wait, someone earlier said it was 10 out of 10. Do you agree?
10 out
Is
of
it a
10
10 out of
self it's 10 out of 10 sci-fi horror. Is it I might be willing to grant you a 6. That might be as far as I'm
That
going to
seems a
go.
little seems a little high to me, but
I think it's it's a relatively by the numbers cult classic sci-fi thing. I can see the appeal, right? There's some
yeah.
interesting things at work. It's fun, low budget, for having a low budget. I particularly like the beginning with the ship crashing, where she straight up just looks like she's in an office desk doing the Star Trek thing, shaking
Yes,
around.
well, the camera's shaking around. So
Yeah.
one thing that's I just want to say first of all, and apologies for like because the trailers for both movies will be on screen. Now these movies are from an era where I don't think anyone had even heard of epilepsy yet, so they do not
No, they
care
do
at
not.
all
They do not give
about
a
strobing lights and
fuck.
crazy wacky editing. These movies are legitimately in some ways kind of hard to watch in that regard. I don't even have photosensitive epilepsy, but apologies to anyone who does.
Yeah.
Because they're crazy. But like you said, they're doing the very low budget thing of just shaking the camera instead of shaking the ship in the beginning crash. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. And I like the idea of we crash landed on a planet with two suns that only, once every 20 something years, 22 years or something like that, there's a total eclipse and some like darkness monsters come out to hunt, right? I like the premise, I think is perfectly serviceable, and I think really what I'm going to look at here is the execution, and it's fine, right? Like it works okay. It could certainly be stronger. I think is
Yeah, that's sort of how I would describe Pitch Black as well. Pitch Black has a really good idea on paper. I think it's got the great bones of a story, and I think Pitch Black is proof that execution is everything and that ideas themselves are cheap because Pitch Black is a good idea rather mediocrely, that's a word, rather poorly executed, all things considered. There's a lot of good stuff in there. There's a lot of things, there's a lot of lines, there's a lot of moments where you're like, that could have been cool. A Pitch Black is trying very hard to be cool, not
oh,
nearly as much as the Chronicles of Riddick,
they both
but it
yeah, so like they both have this sort of like I when what I described it as when we were watching it, because they have a tendency to use words like, instead of saying kill they say ghost, like a lot, or waste, you know
yeah.
these words that feel very much coded into like a mid, like like a turn of the millennium skater culture, almost, is kind of what it feels like this gritty underground skater thing that we were doing back then. It kind of has that energy of of trying to be that kind of movie, like Vin Diesel. And Triple X is very much like that, right? That's probably the biggest example, but Fast and Furious is also, the first one especially, also very, very much drawing on that kind of culture. David Ayer's sort of edgy edgelord skater type vibe, right? So I that seems to have been Vin Diesel really zeroing in on his target audience, and these movies, I think a lot of their charm comes from that, right? Like it's an audience that doesn't really exist anymore, you know?
Or
It,
they're not making movies for him. I think they do exist
yeah,
still,
they're
but we're
not
not
they're
making
not
movies for him.
zeroing in on them in Hollywood anymore. This was Hollywood trying to capture that, and I think we got,
Yeah.
there's some charm to that. I think that
Oh, sure.
it's kind of
There's
fun.
definitely some charm. I like the core premise. I think the core premise is interesting. They crash land on an alien planet, and the planet has three suns, so they're like almost in permanent sunlight. Like the tint changes color. It's like it goes from overexposed orange to overexposed blue. But um, they discover that people who used to be on this planet, whether they lived there originally or just set up like a little space colony, whatever it is, they all disappeared. Uh-oh, what happened to them? Oh, maybe they were killed by spooky monsters that live underground. We get little hints of them, but they mostly stick to the dark. So they think they're safe because, the sunlight is almost constant until they realize, uh-oh, there's a solar eclipse coming, and it happens every 22 years, and so the whole world is going to be plunged into darkness. We gotta face these alien creatures. They're very scary. It's a great little premise. I like it a lot.
It's kind of
I
interesting. Travion Washington just said Pitch Black was a discarded script for Alien 3,
yeah,
and that makes a lot of sense.
it does. So what's his name? David Twohy? I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's Twohy. I'm gonna say Twohy. 2E,
Yeah.
something like that. He was working on an early version of Alien 3, and then he sort of took that and changed it into what became Pitch Black. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I can totally see that. They share a lot in common, obviously. The big difference between Pitch Black and any of the Alien movies is Vin Diesel being like really edgy and cool and badass.
So
Like that's
what
that's
we've
the big
done is
addition.
we've essentially taken a relatively basic premise, a horror space premise, and
Mhm.
injected a character uh
Who's too cool for
who's
it.
just too cool to die, right? Like
Yeah.
he's the ultimate anti-hero for Vin Diesel's, ego trip. He's like he's a super vicious, smart killer who just like he's being transported. The, the only thing that can keep the only part of your brain that goes to sleep in cryo sleep. I think the movie opens with the voiceover. The part of your brain that goes to
Yeah.
sleep in cryo sleep is the human side, not the animal side. No wonder I'm still awake.
Yeah.
Because
Um,
he's a special type of psychopath who's, he's an escape artist, criminal mastermind, um murderer
he has this
supreme.
tragic backstory that like where he was in prison for like what 20 years or something like that in the complete darkness, so his eyes adjusted to that. So now
No,
that's
no,
why he
no, he
wears his
paid a doctor. He deliberately
oh,
paid a
sorry, I
doctor
forgot that
to
bit.
shine his eyes so that he could see people sneaking up on him in the dark. Um, basically he is a creature of the night, not fully human, not fully
He's Bane.
animal. Yeah, he was born in the dark. He has a tragic backstory about an umbilical cord being wrapped around his neck, and like that's sort of where you kind of get the idea that they sort of built that Chronicles of Riddick backstory for this movie, like already, or at the very least they had it on paper and they were like, what if we just put him in the movie? Like, what if we just did that? It's a really interesting hodgepodge of two different types of story at work there. Um, Kind of a bold move to basically be like, oh, we'll start our franchise like, like Alien, essentially.
And so yeah, like the interesting idea on paper is that he's a guy who, through crazy, wacky sci-fi circumstances, now has the ability to see in the dark and has to wear goggles, outside in the light and during the day. And so he has a unique advantage, and for their team. But of course he's their prisoner, so there's tension between him and the rest of the crew. There's tension whether he's going to ultimately save them or just try and save himself. And then, at the end, they tried to pretend that there were some themes in the movie, by sort of, pulling on those strings on the like, oh, are you out for yourself or are you going to help out your fellow man? Does he really have a heart of gold or not? That sort of thing. Um, it's all fine on paper. I imagine it made for a pretty great pitch meeting,
Yeah.
Like I could see myself like hearing this pitch and being like, oh, it actually sounds pretty cool. And then you see the dailies and you're like, what?
Okay, so somebody's pointing out too in the chat, right, that the price of getting the shine on your eyes to be able to see in the dark is 20 menthol cools. Like
Yes.
just normal cigarettes, which once we get into Chronicles of Riddick and like the epic space colonization that has happened here, right? Like
Who's
really?
smoking menthol cools?
Menthol cools was what like that's there are prisons on planets that literally are like 700 degrees on the day side of the planet, so that
Yeah.
they're all and they feed the prisoners regularly to these like space cheetahs, armored space or wolves, like armored space wolves that hunt, right? Like, but menthol cools are the price of getting a surgical job done.
And they even bring back the menthol cools. Like it's
Yeah,
a
they
cool
do.
call. Well, it reminds me of the same arc that Fast and Furious goes on from movie 1 to movie 10, except this happened between movie 1 and movie 2 in this case, where because they're very much doing the alien thing at first, right? Because in Alien, they're just truckers. They smoke cigarettes and they wear like trucker caps and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and Hawaiian shirts and whatever else. You imagine that Earth at this time is more advanced technologically, but still a little, I don't know, still surprisingly normal, right? That's kind of the vibe and aesthetic. And Chronicles of Riddick is like, oh, we're trying to do Lord of the Rings now, so there's no place for menthol cools anymore. But
Except in a throwaway line where
yes,
where she's gonna mention it regardless. There are also some things that set this apart in a way that's going to come into play more so in the next movie, right? But one of the sets of passengers in this film, played by Keith David and a bunch of Arabic kids, is a group of Muslim pilgrims on their way to New Mecca.
yeah. In
Whatever
hindsight, what
that
was
is.
that? Yeah. In hindsight, what the fuck was
What
that?
the fuck is that?
It was kind of funny to watch this and be like, when did this come out? And so 2000. Ah, yes. I'm like, this would not
One
have
year
been how they did this
predicted
movie if it was 2001, 2, 3, etc.
a very
They kind
strange,
of
well, and a strange choice because, and I have a friend, you've met him, Tariq, right? Who
yes.
his family is Muslim, right? And his grandmother, he told me once, used to sit them down once a year to watch Chronicles of Riddick, and her reasoning for it was, this is the story of our people.
No fucking
I am
way.
not kidding.
No way.
So this time around, I
Well,
decided
well,
to
no,
watch it
I'm
from
sorry.
that
Hold
lens.
on, hold on, hold on. We're not moving on from that just yet. Are you serious?
I am serious.
Was his family from like North Africa or something, or was he one of the like
He's
African
nation.
Americans that converts?
I think his family was Nation of Islam.
Oh, okay, so that kind of
Yeah.
Muslim. That makes more sense now. With the,
If he's in the chat, Tariq, if you're in the chat by any chance, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But I do remember you telling me that your grandmother had you watch this movie every year, as it was the story of your people. I don't know if she meant black people or Muslims, but you can clear that up if you're here. Hi,
wait,
by the
who's
way.
Yakub in this movie?
Oh, who would that be? Judi Dench, maybe?
Anyway, Pitch Black. We were talking about Pitch Black.
Right, Pitch Black.
That's,
There's Muslims
that's where
going
they
on a
got the title
pilgrimage to
from.
New
It's the
Mecca.
story of their people.
Oh man, that's great. Yeah, so there's Muslims going to New Mecca. There's a guy who collects rare Earth artifacts. It's a passenger ship through space.
It's a ragtag group of people who, have nothing to do with each other fundamentally, and so they have to like, come together and work as a group, and then there's tension there. It's exactly what you expect from this kind of movie. I will say though, none of them were particularly interesting to me. I kind of liked the middle-aged British guy who collects rare artifacts and booze and things.
The one who feels like he was ripped straight out of The Mummy.
Yes.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, he's kind of fun. He's carrying booze and other artifacts inside of like a Egyptian sarcophagus. Like that's kind of fun.
Yeah, like basically a reject character. And again, this is a Universal movie, so I'm sure there was some talk about like, hey, can we make this a little more like The Mummy? The Mummy was a big success for us. Maybe we add a little bit of something in there. We've got props left over.
There's some of the Mummy. There's some of Indiana Jones in this as well. Little hints, just a dash here and there. Yeah, but like for this like group of characters, I think this movie, one of the reasons that I say that this movie is a great idea on paper, but the execution is so lacking is because we have this ragtag group of characters, but except for like really try hard, edgy Vin Diesel, none of them are particularly interesting to me. Like main girl, her whole arc has to do with like, no, I'm not the captain. The captain died in the crash. Everyone's treating me like the captain.
Well,
but I'm not the
what's her big
captain, and I
conflict, right? Her big conflict is that
yeah
while they're crashing, she wanted to save herself by bailing the passengers and just basically dropping and letting them die. And
yes
then she either failed to do that or didn't, but she's torn up by the
she failed
guilt of
to.
it.
She tried to,
She
and
tried
it
to and it
wouldn't
didn't
work
work.
because the thing
Oh,
jammed.
and
Yeah,
so she's very so she feels guilty about that. Yeah, because she wanted to save herself rather. So yeah, so that's her arc, right? Is that she wanted to save herself instead of others, and so she at the end
decides to
sacrifices herself to
quote
save
unquote
others.
sacrifices herself, is
Yeah,
killed.
like is killed is more like it. At the end, she is killed while attempting to do something good for people. I guess is kind of
Broadly
the
speaking, yes,
broadest strokes you can paint it with.
that's what they're going for anyway. Yeah,
Yeah. Um.
but that's really it for her. You know, there's Guy who gets into arguments with her. It's kind of his main thing. There's you know, Keith David is the
The
like
imam. He's his.
the imam. He's the guy, you know, he's part of the Muslim cohort here that are on their way to New Mecca, whatever that means. And he's just sort of like a spiritual Muslim cleric guy. I mean, I think he's Muslim. He
Well, he keeps
says,
saying Allah. He prays Allahu Akbar a bunch. He says it is a gift from Allah. Blue sun, blue water. You
oh, he
know
says
the
Allah. Okay, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's kind of vague and non-specific, but yes. Like I wasn't sure if he was supposed to be like an Arab Christian or something, but
yeah. It's
yeah,
another thing that almost feels like it would be more in like it would fit better in a movie like The Mummy because they don't
yeah,
really do anything
no.
with any of that, right? It's
You would expect him to have like to come to believe that this is New Mecca or something, and then he wants to stay or he wants to I don't know, something like that. I don't know.
I like if it like
You'd expect
literally
it to
because it's
factor
just
into
a
the
desert.
story.
It's a desert.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. You know, so everything's very surface level in that regard. It's like this, you know, a movie like this would really depend on the strength of all these characters and how they interact with each other. And this movie is not really principally concerned with character writing. It's concerned with cool action set pieces for Vin Diesel to look cool in and flashing lights,
Yes.
strobing
Oh,
lights.
strobing lights and some of the most bizarre editing choices I've seen in a
Oh yeah.
really long time.
Music video editing, the kind that we don't
Yeah.
really get anymore. We didn't get very much at the time, but
One
you
like
know, there's this
cheap music video editing because
sure.
all we're doing is like either revert like mirroring the shots and kind of like right click flip
Yeah.
horizontal for like at
Yes.
random points for
Yes.
like as
And
they're
oh,
walking.
was it okay, because I just watched them back to back. Was it Pitch Black or the Chronicles of Riddick where like the shot would invert colors in the middle of the shot for no obvious reason, just to
Oh no,
look
it's this
cool?
one. It's this one.
Okay, the
Chronicles
colors
of Riddick, when they're
literally.
trying to look cool, they do like some weird slow mo stuff, and then they just cut all the kinetic sound out of the action,
Yeah.
which is a very
This
again a
this
really weird choice to make.
there's
I
some
don't.
horizontal flipping in Chronicles of Riddick too. I remember that. That was
It's
pretty
yeah, it's a
distinct.
lot fewer and a lot fewer and farther between. I don't think it really starts happening until the escape from crematoria. I didn't notice it as badly, but in this one, it's like there are a lot of. It's almost every scene that it gets kind of slow. They decide to do that to just to keep pace up. I guess
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. It's not achieving anything besides looking very distracting. Um,
Yes.
oh, Johns. Ephraim Winslow in the chat is saying Jones. That confused me for a second there. Yeah, Johns, who is evidently a very important character. I did not remember this, but in the third one, his dad shows up looking for him. Um, to
Wait, is John's the Australian guy?
no, Johns is the mercenary who's addicted to morphine.
He wasn't Australian.
No, I don't think so. He might.
Who was the
The
Australian guy?
Australian guy was one of the settlers. His name was Zeke, and he just like
Oh,
has a happy trigger
okay.
finger. Yeah,
Yes. Okay, never mind. I know who you're talking about. Yes.
yeah. Johns is the mercenary who's addicted to morphine. His dad shows up in the third one and becomes a major character, um, which is
Why not? Why
fuck it,
not?
fuck it. Why not? They they removed all the rest of the characters from the second movie. They spent 2 hours setting up, so I guess we might as well just throw his dad in for shits and giggles. But yeah, John's the mercenary. He's so we've got the captain, we've got Riddick, we've got not Egyptologist. We've got John's the mercenary, who's the one who's charged with transporting Riddick, or is transporting Riddick because he's a bounty hunter, right? Who's addicted to morphine and is kind of morally gray, for sort of, until he starts talking about, like, he basically starts working with Riddick in the way that he thinks Riddick will, appreciate. I guess he's kind of a psychopath, but he's the bad kind of psychopath. Riddick, he's a monster, an animal who's, the cryo sleep stuff can't put him down, right? Because he's just such an animal and badass killer. But he has a code, and his code is that he won't kill, like, I guess the main thing is that he won't kill children. Like, his thing. Like, yeah, that's where he draws the line. That's fine, I suppose.
Yeah, they give him a sort of heart of gold to a
Yeah,
degree,
kind of. Yeah,
reluctantly.
he's
They
like
don't
the
want to give him
reluctant
too.
here. Yeah,
They
it's
don't want to make his heart too gold because that would be gay. So
yeah.
he's just
It's a
like reluctantly
strange.
heroic enough.
It's a really weird thing, a really weird
It is.
character, honestly. So, like,
It's
I
a very
know
strange
that this is
character.
very popular. I know this is his clear, like, one of the things that you'll find if you Google this is that Riddick is one of the most favorite characters Vin Diesel has ever played. And you'll know that because every character he plays now is basically just some version of Riddick, right?
Yeah.
But he,
Really quick, there's an
who
interesting
is
thing
he?
with his performance in these movies where one of the things I notice is that sometimes he does the very low, gravelly Vin Diesel thing. He sort of talks like that. And then sometimes it's the spell of his like cool, gravelly voice like totally wears off whenever he raises his voice. Because then you're just like, oh, you're just kind of like Jersey Shore bro kind of guy. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
spiritually, like when he raises his
he does
voice.
kind of look like the situation a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, a little bit. That's so funny.
Yeah, so people are talking about how Johns is addicted to space morphine because you have to inject it into your eye. Um, I like, I don't know if people actually do that or not. I remember always being kind of disturbed by that scene. I thought that's kind of a nice touch, right? That he's sticking it in his eye, to wake up in the morning. But yeah, no, like, so Riddick, the character of Riddick, right? Like, one of Vin Diesel's favorite characters. But one of the things that I really want to try to get to the bottom of here is what exactly Riddick's character is meant to be, right? Because what they tell us a lot is that he's a cold-blooded, like the most cold-blooded and infamously evil murderer in space, essentially.
Space history.
In space history. He like, and they're gonna hammer this home really hard
Yeah.
through,
Sorry.
like,
Kevin said some people are destined to be bald. It's true.
well, in this movie,
They're spiritually bald.
there's a scene where he shaves his head with like a
Curved razor.
curved razor and a bunch of axle grease. And I remember being a kid and being like, "That's so cool, man!
Oh, that's so cool.
That's so fucking cool." Damn, I want to do that when I get older. I want to shave my head like Vin Diesel does in Pitch Black. But yeah, so like, okay, so the character of Riddick, because what they tell us he is a lot is basically an animalistic primal psychopath who is at turns both the most violent, brutal monster that has ever existed in the history of space, but also he's like a hyper calculating, cold, ruthless escape artist, con
Who
man.
also is just kind of misunderstood because
Yeah,
he's not
who's
really
also
a
just
bad guy at all.
he's not really a bad guy. He does like people, and he has a soft spot for people and for animals
Kids,
and
yeah.
kids.
And for multiracial kids, yeah.
Yeah. But also
That's
he's
just
like a
that's the
dangerous
thing that
sexual
comes.
predator in a way as well. Like,
It's just like I don't know what it is, but in basically every, I think it's because Vin Diesel himself is sort of like ethnically ambiguous. In every Vin Diesel led movie I've ever seen, like his character has a soft spot for like some like interracial kid. Like that's it, just it comes up in every movie. It's so funny where he'll like take a moment to be like, "Oh yes, nice." Like he just, I don't know what it is.
I,
He makes sure to put one in every single movie.
yeah. Yeah, this was okay. So there's a really cool. Somebody just mentioned this. The scene where he dislocates both his shoulders to like get
Oh, to
to
escape. Yeah.
escape that. It looks kind of real when he does it,
Yeah.
and if he can actually do that, that's pretty fucking cool. Or if he could actually do that, that's pretty sick. But
I think that's fake.
yeah,
I don't think he can do that. I think
it,
it's a very movie thing,
it
but
is a very
he
movie thing.
can.
If he can, that's pretty fucking sick.
I don't think he
But
can.
I like all I'm saying is Quantum Ranger power was read that he was actually able to do that, and now you might have read that, and that might have been written by Vin Diesel himself. He might be telling people, "Yeah, I could. Yeah, I could. I actually used to be able to do that." That's a
Can't
real
anymore
story. I
because
can't anymore because I'm like
I
old
hurt my
now.
arm
I hurt my
on
arms,
Triple X,
on
the State of the Union, and I can't do that anymore. I'm afraid.
oh,
Daily
that's
Dose,
crazy.
thank you very
Apparently,
much.
it's in the behind the scenes footage. That's nuts, man.
Well, if he, good for him because that's wild. That's pretty wild. Daily, I guess he is really cool after all. I take it
Yeah,
all back,
take it back.
Vin. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I ever made fun of you. Daily Dose Man, thank you very much for the super chat. Says, will you do a two-part stream on Frankenstein 2025 and The Bride 2026, trying to figure out what makes a bad, disrespectful adaptation? Could be some fun. Well, here's the thing about The Bride is
I
that
think
I
Kevo nails it. It looks fucking unwatchable. Like,
it looks really bad, and I think I'd rather kill myself than watch that movie. So I don't think I'm going to be watching The Bride. I've heard that it's so bad it's remarkable, like it's a train wreck sort of thing. But I don't know, man. I don't know if I can. I'm just so sick of that type of movie.
you don't want to see Maggie Gyllenhaal's magnum opus?
Maggie Gyllenhaal's The Joker too. Is
God damn, dude, she
we do have to
sucks. I forgot
we
how
are
much she
going to talk
sucks.
about Del Toro's Frankenstein at some point. That is
Yeah, we will have to
something that
do
is
that.
on the list. And for someone who mentioned it at the very beginning of the stream, we are going to continue watching the Disney movies at some point. But you know what? We just thought we'd, talk about how awesome and cool Vin Diesel is for a
Yeah,
while. All right. Sue us.
yeah, and this is before we've even begun to touch Triple X. So there's plenty more
No, we're
Vin
not
where
talking.
that
We're
came
not
from.
watching that one. Fuck that.
It's okay. I watched Riddick. It's basically there's shades of Triple X in there already. Um, but okay. So back to Pitch Black, right? Like we've got our mercenary character who is a true psychopath. Riddick, who is like a psychopath, but kind of like you said, kind of with a heart of gold, but not too much of a heart of gold because that'd be gay. So like it's
Well, I
just
mean,
it's a
fundamentally, they talk about him like he actually just murdered dozens of people in cold blood. But the way he acts in the movie and the way everyone starts to act around him is that like he only ever killed people that were trying to kill him. You know what I mean? That's
yeah.
the general vibe. And so it's like, oh, he's really dangerous, but he actually, he's not evil at
Oh,
all.
it's a
But they
little bit
act
like
like he's
Dominic
evil.
Toretto in that way, right? Like yeah, like
Yeah.
the FBI wants Dominic Toretto arrested because he's stealing too many DVD players with built-in screens, but really he's only a street tough who's fallen on hard times because he almost killed a guy who killed his dad cheating at a race once. So yeah, it's like it's a little it's the same character. It's the same guy,
Yes.
right? But in this one, he's also like an international space convict who is just
Yes.
like really intimidating and really good at killing people. And he doesn't care if you live or die, but he does actually, though, because except that he doesn't. So
He likes to sniff women too.
he
That's
does
another
like to
one of his
sniff women.
favorite
That
things
yeah,
to
oh,
do.
he does like to do that. It's almost like he thought he was playing a blind man because he was wearing swimming goggles the whole time.
Tinted swimming goggles.
Tinted swimming goggles. Eh.
Uh,
Yeah, he's
let's talk about the goggles really quick
yeah.
because they feel like an interesting blend between like the Matrix and steampunk goggles. Um, are they
Yeah.
cool? Question mark. What do you think, Hugh? How do you
Ooh.
feel about the goggles? Are they awesome and badass, or do they make him look a little retarded? Or is
Well,
it
they do
something in
kind of make
between?
his eyes look a lot farther apart than they actually are. So
Yes.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna lean towards the retarded thing.
Just slightly. It's just like a slight tilt. It's like a 60-40 type thing.
Yeah, yeah. I like it. I wouldn't be surprised if the first pitch was something closer to aviator sunglasses,
Mhm.
because that would legitimately be kind of like funny, cool in a funny way. It's like, oh yeah, this guy, this international convict, we can't take his sunglasses off because that'll hurt his eyes. So we just let him keep the Ray-Bans. I think that would be kind of funny. And in
Yeah.
almost in the way of like, an Escape from New York is not taking itself super. And okay, so there's another
Yes.
difference between like this, because this little run that Vin Diesel had of Pitch Black, Fast and Furious, and Triple X, right? That is maybe the closest thing I think we've had to a Kurt Russell run of Escape from New York, The Thing, and Big Trouble in Little China, right? Like
It hurts to hear you say that because of the quality difference, but I know what you're getting at.
yeah, like I mean, it is really similar, right? Like the only one of those that got a sequel was Escape from New York, and that's however long past, but it's three similar characters, like not similar characters because Kurt Russell has range, but it's like three kinds of movies that they're headlined by an action star, you know, and that's almost what he pulled off here, right? With Pitch Black, Fast and Furious, and Triple X. So I do like that aspect.
Well, it's
But
interesting
these
because
movies take them these movies, Vin's movies, and I think it's mostly because of Vin. They take themselves very seriously compared to
yeah,
the others, right?
that's the main problem.
That's the
I
main
the
difference.
enjoyment I get out of the Chronicles of Riddick, for example, is definitely ironic because the movie is taking itself so seriously. The movie is trying so hard to be cool, and that's kind of funny in a way, especially
Yeah.
when he gets a whole bunch of quippy one-liners in Chronicles that aren't cool at all, but it's really funny that he thinks they are. And I think Vin Diesel is probably at his best in the movies where at least some people involved are like having that are treating the movies like they're fun instead of like really awesome and cool and serious. You know? And I think Pitch Black is definitely closer to that than Chronicles of Riddick. But
Quantum, real quick, Quantum Ranger Power asks, where does the pacifier fit in that? Jingle All the Way, basically. Or
you
Overboard
know,
in the case of Kurt Russell. Somebody mentioned Terminator, Predator, Commando. Yeah, I can see that too. So Terminator, Predator, Commando, Jingle All the Way, and then Escape from New York, The Thing, Big Trouble in Little China, Overboard. There you go. We've
not Overboard. Yeah, the pacifier.
well,
Oh no,
no,
okay.
Overboard. Kurt
Sorry.
Russell's the pacifier.
Right. Overboard's a really funny
I
movie, by
do
the
like.
way.
I gotta be honest, man. I kind of like the pacifier too.
I liked the
I
pacifier when it
like.
came out.
I
I
kind of like that
enjoyed
movie.
that movie. Like, I wonder if it's still funny. Like, I wonder if I'd like it more than Pitch Black, actually. Well, I don't know, because his attitude, his whole aura just works so much better in a movie that isn't taking itself seriously, which is why, like, the better Fast and Furious movies are, like, sillier, you know? After like 5, for
Yeah,
example.
5. Yeah, yeah.
5 is kind of fun and dumb, and it rides that line really well.
Yeah, well, yeah, 5 is the only other one I would argue that actually is kind of fun and dumb and rides the line. Like that's but the problem is that I do believe that Vin Diesel thinks that that movie is like like a fucking like a Godfather. Like he thinks that
Yes.
that is like a masterpiece. Like I
Oh
think
yeah.
that's the problem is he takes himself way too seriously compared to somebody like
Yes.
Arnold or Kurt Russell. Like he's not.
Unbelievable ego on
Yeah.
him. Unbelievable. Yeah, it's really funny. Someone asks, as serious as these movies take themselves, is that better or worse than the insincere meta movies we get now? I think it's
I
better.
think it's bad. Oh, I was saying like I've been saying to people, like as much as I'm going to talk about the things in this movie that I don't think are working very well and the weird things that I'm kind of confused why they did, I would so much rather have more of these more weird shitty movies like Chronicles of Riddick and more weird like near misses like Pitch Black than any of the slop that we get today. Like I would so much rather have that.
Especially like, Marvel, like the most recent Marvel movies and things of that
Oh yeah.
nature where like they kind of refuse to take themselves seriously in a lot of ways. And if they do, okay, what I do admire about Pitch Black is that it is just trying to do the Alien Aliens thing where it's legitimately tense, but they're adding in like a cool factor, and they genuinely think it's cool, and so I admire their earnestness.
Yes.
But a lot of the cool factor isn't really landing for me. It's funny. It's funny, but it's not. I'm not enraptured by it as I was when I was like 12 or
Oh yeah.
13 or whenever I
This
first saw this
but
movie.
but that's the thing, right? Is that they're not really making movies like this. Like this is a movie for 13-year-old boys. This is an
Yes,
R-rated movie for
certainly.
13-year-old boys and they don't make this shit anymore and they should, right? That's what
That's
I'm
true.
trying to get at.
I
It's like
agree
I
with that.
want more movies like this. Than like the ones where we basically just get lectures for these 13-year-olds about how they're the problem and they're like if they don't fix their masculine ways like they're gonna grow up to cause World War III or whatever. Like this is or like just harm everybody in their path. This movie is unapologetically for the dudes, like
Yeah.
unapologetically.
Yeah,
Say,
and I appreciate that, and that's why I wish it was better because I like movies for the dudes. I'm rooting for the dudes, but yeah, the execution leaves a lot to be desired in this movie. Like I said, it's a great idea on paper, honestly. Like I like the pitch. I think there's a lot you can do with it.
Yeah. Somebody also mentioned, Daily Dose mentioned that the pacifier has a Nazi kid in it. No, it's got a kid who's gay but has a Nazi thing. Like the Nazi thing is in service of him being gay because he's in musical theater.
Wait, what?
He has a swastika. They find a swastika in his locker, but
I don't
it's
remember
because
that.
he's in a community theater production of Sound of Music and he's playing the
Ah.
Nazi.
That's pretty funny.
It's a fun. It's yeah. It's funny.
Yeah, I like it when Vin Diesel's cool guy attitude is kind of like at odds with the movie. You know?
Yeah.
Instead of everything in the movie trying to warp around his giant ego.
Which
I
is
like
what
it
we get
when
with Riddick. Like in this one, it's
yes.
a little bit more like the balance. They have it. It's not Vin pulling all the strings and owning all the intellectual property rights. So this one,
Yeah.
there's more of a balance there. There's other
Yeah,
people who
there
still have
certainly is
power.
more of a balance. Yeah. Other voices
But yeah. So
are
the
allowed
Australian
to
guy that
speak.
you were asking about earlier, him and the one lady who dies by getting herself ripped in half by bats. Right. Those two are prospectors who are looking for I guess they're looking for mining settlements in on new planets somewhere. And that's
Sure, why
really like
not?
and oh and then there's a kid. A kid who also has shaves her head or shaves his head, sorry, and starts walking around in goggles emulating Riddick, right? Now, I've shown this movie to quite a few people who've never seen it before. Nobody is ever surprised by the big twist reveal that this kid is actually a girl. But
How
they
could you
do.
be?
I don't know how you would be. I mean, unless you're just like I was a really dumb 13-year-old. Like I
Yeah,
don't
maybe
know
it
how
worked
you
then. I don't remember honestly.
like. I remember at like however old. Not even 13. No, I would have been like 8. A really dumb 8-year-old, right? Maybe could fall for this ruse. But they do a big reveal in the middle of the movie where they you like Vin Riddick smells her period. So he reveals to the group
I
that
read that their periods attract bears. I mean
yes,
aliens.
aliens, the bat-like alien, carnivorous bat-like
They can smell
aliens
the
that can
menstruation.
smell menstruation.
Hear
Like
that,
him,
Ron?
much like
Now you're
him, he
putting
can
the
smell it
now you're
too.
putting the whole team in jeopardy.
Which is like it's a weird thing to do as like, oh, it's a twist that actually this is a girl instead of a boy in the middle of the movie, but also to do it by being like, yeah, and then Riddick smells her period blood. Like
That's how we knew.
that's how
That's
he
how we
knew.
knew.
That's how he knew because he could like because we've established that he likes to smell women when he cuts off the cap part of the captain's hair and smells it behind her back without her knowing earlier in the movie. Isn't that just like to see where Chekhov's nose has really gone off here?
Mig's origin story. Yeah. There's a similar energy there.
Yeah, it's a very
There are a lot of odd choices in this
yeah.
movie. I would describe that as an odd choice.
I would
I don't
say
really know.
they're taking some really hefty swings in every direction they can.
Sure.
They're
Yeah.
really taking
I
some
don't know
swings.
I don't know what her being a girl does for the story at all.
Nothing, honestly. I don't because there are women in the group, right?
Already,
Already.
yes.
So
And they're
when
not all like, menopausal,
yeah.
so
So like when the 12-year-old goes, I just thought things might go better for me if you all thought I was a boy. It's like why?
why?
Why though? And they
They
all like
weren't like, "No
nobody asked
women
that
in."
question. They all just kind
No.
of go, "Oh, it's okay, sweetie." Like, yeah, don't worry about it. Like, yeah, happens to the best of us. So, I, j- I
I
don't
don't,
really get
I
it.
don't know what that serves. I don't know what the point of that is exactly.
Yeah, I like they all kind of like the little Habibis all end up getting picked off one by one as they
Yeah.
explore the settlement. They find out that like everything on the planet. Oh, here's an interesting idea, right? Is like settlers on this planet only built like they didn't build lights because the sun's never set, right? So they don't have electric lights or anything, and all their technology is solar. So that puts a bit of a ticking clock once we find out that there's a total eclipse coming. Everything
Mhm.
stops working. That's kind of cool. I like that. I think
I
that's
like that
interesting.
too. I agree.
And it's it like we got to get some power cells from the wrecked ship to the to the lifeboat that they were prepping to get the emergency shuttle they were prepping to get out of their encampment, right? So all of that makes sense to me. I think that's all working really well, and it's giving us some of the setup. The characters start to get picked off pretty early on. There's some investigation stuff that doesn't really amount to much, honestly. It's some
You
nice tense
discover like a
scenes.
giant like skeleton of a huge animal
A
that
bunch of
has
them. There's a
been.
whole graveyard of
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
Like there's an elephant graveyard. I think someone even says elephants at one
I
point.
think Keith David, like the
Yeah.
elephants of Earth. Yeah, yeah. Which is it like and this is another interesting thing for me, right? Is that like these movies and these types of movies often feel very far removed from Earth because, they're in like we've colonized space. They're going to a place called New Mecca. They've got like we're gonna establish that there's like a system called Helion Prime that has 9 inhabited planets in it, right? Like we've
Yeah.
really kind of we've gone full on like beyond Firefly. We're in Star Wars territory almost. Like this might as well be a new galaxy. But Earth is like so intricately connected that when the not Egyptologist guy dies, he's lamenting the fact that he's just never even been to France, even though
Yeah.
he hopped on a spaceship to go halfway across the fucking universe. I guess like he couldn't he could afford to do that, but not to fly to France once. I don't know. Like that's there's some weird little world building lines that I think they're more just throwaways
Yeah, they're
than
throwaways. They
but
wanna
like
give him some quirk as a character.
yeah.
That's all. That's all that really is. And to the person in the chat, Mordaka, he's not French. He's English, presumably, or British at least.
Yeah,
Um,
he's basically the guy Evie's brother from the Mummy.
yeah,
Like
basically.
basically Jonathan, Evie's brother Jonathan from the Mummy. That's basically his entire character. He's kind of goofy. He's the one who has like the little witticisms, you know. He keeps the liquor around. It's it's working fine, I guess. You know, it's a little
Yeah,
bit sprawling, the cast of characters, but we limit it down pretty quick. You know, and then we get, we boil it down like pretty fast to the form, like, because the Egyptologist guy dies, the sexy prospecting lady with the accent, she dies by getting ripped in half.
the
The
Australian guy
Australian,
dies.
yeah, the Kiwi guy, he dies.
Oh,
And then
is he whatever he is?
I don't know,
That scene
he's
where he dies is very, very funny.
oh yeah, when like
The way it's shot, because we like snap zoom onto him and then he dies and it's like, oh no, who got him? And then we like snap zoom even further away and Vin Diesel, Riddick is like standing off in the distance watching and they don't know he's watching. But like the camera work there it's very comical. I
yeah.
don't think it was supposed to be, but there
Well,
are some like a
there
lot
are
of
some
fun
funny
moments like
zooms
that.
too, right? Like where
Yeah.
there's a survivor from the crash who wanders up to him, and then Zeke, the Australian man, shoots him in the
Oh,
back of the
that's
face.
yeah. No, that's
And
the scene I was thinking about, not his death, where he kills that guy.
oh yeah, he shoots the guy, and he goes, "Oh crikey, I thought it was him. I thought it was Riddick." And then the camera like zooms in to Riddick sitting on the roof, like
Yeah.
just chilling with a bottle of whiskey, and it's like it's really
Yeah.
funny.
It's pretty
Yeah.
funny. I like it.
There are
It's
some
good.
funny moments like that, where you remind yourself like, hey, this is supposed to be fun, you know. But we
Oh, we got a
boil.
good question in the chat. I think we need to stop what we're doing and answer this question because I think it's important, Hugh. Uh, someone asks, what if the tank top theory is just the way you Zeta males try to smear strong men because RLM, EFAP, and you are weak Zeta males? Yeah,
Damn,
what do you have to say to that, Hugh?
you're the one who presented the black tank top theory, Jamie. I think like
You were clearly in agreement with me, but it's fine. I'll defend myself. Um,
I think he's raising some strong arguments. Maybe we have to
he
reckon with
does.
our own masculinity.
These guys do have really cool, strong muscles, and they are pretty cool. They are starring in action adventure movies, and I'm not. So
Yeah,
who
so
am
what
I to
do I know?
talk? Really?
I mean, I've never shaved my head with axle grease and a curved you know bit of spaceship. So, who am I to judge, really?
Who am I to judge? It's funny because the criticisms that I have about like Pitch Black trying really hard to be cool, they pale in comparison to the Chronicles of Riddick. Like when I think back now on Pitch Black, I'm like, that was actually there was a lot of restraint there, you know, all things
What's
considered.
even crazier is like when you get to Riddick, you realize how restrained Chronicles of Riddick was in the "I'm gonna make Riddick look so cool" kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, like Johns is revealed to be kind of the villain, right? He's willing to chop up a body of one of the survivors and use them as bait to keep them off, keep the evil vampire bat monsters off of them, even though the light plan that they've got working for them, at that point is going fine, right? So it's like he's always thinking ahead, smart dude, planning three steps ahead. But that creates a what is it, like another misunderstanding, right? Because Riddick kills him or puts him in a position to be killed by the monsters in order to save the rest of the group, but the rest of the group already has their assumptions about Riddick being an evil man. So when he kills the guy, they immediately believe that he did it out of pure spite and just animalistic instinct, and so
yes,
that causes problems, right? So careful, don't judge a book by its incredibly cool black tank top laden cover is I think what it's trying to get at, right? Just because he wears a black tank top doesn't mean he's a bad guy. He's just a
yeah,
badass.
yeah. The black tank top is the modern black cowboy hat, I think. You know.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, yeah. So by the end of the movie, right? Okay, so let's talk because there's not really much by way of plot. Riddick discovers a blind spot for these monsters by examining a skeleton, like a petrified one, a fossilized one. I don't know. He discovers a blind spot, and where is the blind spot on these monsters, Jamie?
It's literally right in front of them,
Like, yeah, like right between their
directly
eyes.
in front of
Now,
their nose.
isn't that is kind of a blind spot for us as well, right? So, like, I guess
I
that
mean,
makes
how
sense.
close you would have to get so close for that to be a blind spot. So I
Yeah.
don't think that I'm not giving it the movie that, no. Especially because these are hunters, not like
Well, and they echolocate
prey
too, right?
animals.
So they don't see.
Let's just talk about their vision in general. Obviously, they have echolocation because they mostly live in the dark, but also they do kind of have a vision, a night vision, if you will, but it's awful. It's really, really bad. You would kind of expect them to see pretty well in the dark, honestly, or to like their echolocation to work quite well. If you think something is right in front of your face, maybe that would be a good time to use your echolocation, for example. Um, they're pretty like when the plot needs them to be, they're incredibly cunning and vicious and dangerous, and then sometimes they're pretty stupid and pretty easy to best in a way that's not very satisfying, I would say.
Yeah.
They're a pale imitation of a xenomorph. They're very xenomorph-like, except they're a bit more like a dinosaur with a hammerhead. It's kind
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
gist of what they are.
Yeah, mixed with like bats because they swarm and flock like that.
Well,
It's
there's two kinds, right? There's two
oh, there's
classes
the
of
little
them.
ones and then there's the big
Yeah,
ones. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
yeah. And like they have like their eyes are really far apart, like a hammerhead shark, right? And so like maybe you can get away with the like, oh, if you stand literally inches from
Well,
the front of their face.
that is exactly what we do get away with, right? It's like
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to make sense of it, not just agree with what the movie shows us. But if they had any other senses at all, they would obviously know he's right there. And if they use their echolocation, the thing is looking for him,
yeah.
right? It thinks it might be right in front of it, but it doesn't try the echolocation thing. That's odd.
Yeah, and like that is
It's
an
just kind of a
interesting
it's kind
point.
of a it's kind of a
Georgius
dumb scene.
Georgius Rex also points out, like, they do echolocate, so they must be drawn to sound, or they probably like sound would cause vision, right? Would you be able to distract them by making noise some way, like a boombox? They don't really think of that, or like
Oh, they
activating
could
a
have played
PA
like some
system.
really cool new metal on a
Dude,
boombox.
they totally could have played some Rage. I bet you those things would be super into that.
Yeah, but that little moment in particular where he's like moving to stay just in front of it is pretty silly.
Oh yeah,
Other
wait a minute, hold on, more DACA. Thank you for pointing this out because there is a scene when Riddick, like, because Riddick can see them because he can see in the dark because he's super cool at that, and he had 20 menthol cools on him at one point. Um, he sees them eating
that's a
each
lot of
other.
money.
He sees them eating each other. They cannibalize each other because, like,
Yeah,
if
they're just that evil, they're
well,
just that
they're
edgy.
that evil, but like, there's nothing else left on the planet because they've eaten it all, right? Like, they ate all those
Yeah.
elephants and shit.
How do they survive is a good
One
question.
well, one would make you wonder then, like, how did those elephants even survive long enough to evolve, right? Like, if you've got 22 years on, like, basically, like, between eclipses when these things come out, like, those
Yes.
elephants can't, like, they can't have gotten that big. Like, then they're not imports. They didn't just bring them, right? Like, they clearly I don't know. But yeah, how are they? One would wonder. They go under. Maybe they don't eat as much for those 22 years that they're under, but then, like, they just eat each other when they come out. Like, that's the whole thing. I don't know.
Don't think about it too much. That's the gist of it. There are moments where the monsters are legitimately kind of scary and the situations are tense. They're kind of few and far between ultimately. Just because the monster design is like okay, they're it's all right.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
passable.
yeah, I think it's fine. I don't take any major issues with the look. I think it's,
Yeah.
as long as you're just watching this for turn it on a rainy day kind of movie, as somebody in the chat said. I think it looks okay. But basically, like, so the main.
Say it really quick because I had the
Go
same
ahead.
thought. Georges Rex says that he saw the T-Rex vision in Jurassic Park and thought it could do one better. It's like, what if instead of they can't see you if you don't move, it's they can't see you if you're literally right in front of them.
Yes. Let's
You
do
ask
that. It's
yourselves, which one
stupider.
do you think is better? What do you think Jurassic Park's better than Pitch Black? What are you, a Zeta male?
Yeah, dude, this is
I
like
don't
so
remember any
much
black
edgier.
tank tops in Jurassic Park. All right. There's a
So
black
much.
dress shirt, but that's not really the same as it.
I don't remember any cool misunderstood convicts in Jurassic Park, really, unless you count Jeff Goldblum. So that's just real life.
He has a black dress shirt,
He
and
does.
that's
That
pretty
is kind of
close.
close. That is pretty
And a
close.
leather
And
jacket.
he is very
he's
much like the author's stand-in.
yeah, he's pretty cool. He's not Vin Diesel cool, but he's up there.
Yeah. So, okay, so what we like, there's not much to talk about plot wise. They start dying. The plan is basically we need to get the power cells from the crashed ship to the escape shuttle to, basically just to make it off, but we have to go back through the dark. Things go wrong, obviously, right?
People get
And
picked off.
people start getting picked off one by one until all that we are left with is the 12-year-old bald girl who idolizes Riddick, the imam, and the captain, and of course Riddick, right? And at at one point, Riddick basically gets them to safety. He manages to hide them in a cave. It started to rain. These things are all swarming, and he manages to get them, locked into a cave. The cave is full of little glow bugs, which explains why the monsters aren't in there, right? Because the light, any light, doesn't matter what kind, hurts them, right? So they
Yes.
load up some of the empty whiskey bottles with the glow bugs. Now they have little torches. Riddick, in the meantime, is basically just ready to leave. He's locked them in the cave. He's got the power cells to the ship, and he's just ready to go. He's gonna leave them there until the captain shows up, and they have a moment. The clash of ideologies, you could call it, right? Because she has somehow managed to get out of that cave, right? It's like the rock is not moving, and Keith David and the girl are still in there. Somehow the captain has managed to get out of that cave and make it all the way back to the settlement where the spaceship is without bringing them, right? She's gonna, I don't know, wait here, I'll go get help kind of thing. But if you could make it that whole way with just one of those little Jack Daniels glow lights, you would think that maybe
He's trying to make sure he doesn't leave without them. Is that
yeah,
the
but
idea?
why wouldn't all three of you just go at that point?
It's a good question.
Yeah, but so she gets to Riddick and she's like, I promised I would come back with more light. And he's like, well, maybe you shouldn't have done that. You should just come with me. And she says, I think you're afraid to go back. And he delivers maybe my favorite line in the whole movie. Because he actually throws his head back and does, ha, 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 me afraid? It's a very dramatic theater kid kind of moment. She has a little bit of a breakdown when he suggests hey, maybe you should just save yourself. Like she would have done at the beginning, or tried to do at the beginning of the movie. But she fights with him, and they decide to go back and get them. And on the way back again from the cave, she's caught. As she looks endearingly into Riddick's eyes, she is caught by one of the monsters and just dragged off into the darkness, never to be seen again.
Yeah. So they want that to be a heroic sacrifice. Her arc being that she goes from someone who was willing to jettison all those other passengers in order to save herself to someone who is willing to step up into the captain's role and ultimately is willing to sacrifice herself to save everyone else. That's what they're going for. But her death isn't actually framed as a heroic sacrifice based on what actually happens. It's just she dies. You know, she doesn't. It's not a willing choice.
Yeah,
She is in the process of trying to save them, but it's not like she dies in order to save them. She just gets
dies. Yeah,
yeeted by
she
one of
just
the
gets she
aliens.
just dies. And like the
Yeah.
movie really does try to play it up as if it was a sacrifice because Riddick yells out into the darkness, "Not for me," you know. But it's like it wasn't really for you. It was just
No, it
sort of
wasn't.
like
It
an
just happened.
accident. It just happened.
Yeah.
Like
She didn't intend that at all,
no.
for sure. She would have preferred not to die. I'm pretty positive about that,
Yeah,
actually.
like that wasn't the goal. She wasn't distracting them so that you could get out. It was just like, whoops, fuck, one of them.
Ephraim
Damn.
Winslow asks, "Isn't dying to save them entailed if she died in the attempt?" No, because she did like in this
Well,
particular moment, she didn't die. Her dying didn't accomplish anything. You know, understand what I'm saying?
yeah, like it was so okay. So what I agree with what he's saying, right? It like in the broadest terms
Yes,
possible. Yes, it is sort of dying to save them. Yes. But it's
kind of.
not that she like made the decision to sacrifice herself to give them more time. It's
Yeah,
just that she got by like she basically let her guard down a little too much and got. Like it might have like
yes.
she could have just gotten crushed by a boulder that was randomly falling and it would achieve pretty much the same thematic
And if she had
result,
been
you know?
crushed by a random boulder, would we be saying, "Ah, she died to save them"? Be like,
Yeah,
I
it
guess."
feels a little random. You know, it's not they're in danger and she has to step in to save, you
She
know,
doesn't like go on like a sort of, suicide run to distract the aliens or something so they can go free or whatever else. She doesn't jump in front of a bullet or anything similar to that. So it just doesn't really land like the heroic sacrifice that would complete her arc in the way that they clearly want it to,
yeah.
right? And that's a simple tweak. There's
Yeah.
a simple tweak there. And that would make her ending stronger. It would feel less like an accident, like, "Oh, there she goes. She got caught." And more of a like, she did
Yeah.
something willingly. She made a choice to save them, which fulfills the conclusion of her arc that was started from the very beginning.
Yeah, I mean, it
Storytelling.
does sort of. So somebody was mentioning like DM, rocks fall, everyone dies. Players, what a heroic sacrifice. It is a little bit as if like a random roll took out like a member of the party. Like everything looks like it's gonna go fine, but then it's like and then one of the random ads gets a nat 20 and kills your leader. It's just like oh.
Oh, all right. He died to
Yeah.
save us,
You
I
die. I
guess.
guess you died to save us. And then, like, the rest of the improv group kind of rolls with it. Not for me. Like I'm going to use this to build my character. That it feels it just feels a little lackluster, and there is a much better way of doing that. Like a very simple tweak to fulfill what you're going for, but like technically they did do it, so sure. Yeah.
Not for me.
Yeah, and then so not for me. They gather into the ship. Everybody's,
Oh, this is one of my favorite moments in the movie.
well,
I'm so excited.
why don't you go ahead and
Well, you describe it. You describe it.
so they gather into the ship, they're getting ready to go, and then Riddick decides like, wait a minute.
Not
And
yet.
not yet.
Hold.
Hold, turns off
Wait till you see the lights in their eyes.
all of the ship's power things, like powers it down, and everybody's freaking out. They're like, Riddick, what are you doing? Those things, they're swarming now. They're all over the ship. And he goes, just wait. And it says a couple times, just wait, just wait. And then
And I'm like, what on earth could he be
and
possibly be doing
and
here?
and what he says is, we can't leave without saying goodnight. And then he flips on the engines and burns a bunch of them alive, and they fly out. And one of them burns up in the stratosphere as they leave the planet. Ooh, man. Cool shit.
Pretty fucking cool.
Pretty fucking cool.
He just endangered everyone just so he could kill a couple extra on the way out.
He is nothing if not revenge oriented. I think that is these movies make that very clear.
Well, it has so many obvious like references and allusions to, Alien and Aliens, but like in Aliens, like the whole like nuke it from orbit attitude she has where she's like, not only do we want to escape, but we want to destroy as many of them as possible because they can't be allowed to escape. If any got onto the ship, they could destroy Earth, all that sort of stuff, right? There's just none of that in this. So at the end when they want the beat where he like, oh, my dog's barking at something. They want the beat at the end where he's like, "Oh, we gotta make sure we kill as many as we can before we leave instead of just leaving."
Yeah.
Why?
Well, and so Ephraim Winslow here says, in all fairness, he is a literal serial killer. He likes his moitas. It would be almost the same though, as if like a serial killer who decides to like take out a personal vendetta against a great white shark. Like that's
Like a
really where
doll's
that's really where it's like yeah, he does like to kill things, but he also one of the things that's supposed to set him apart here is that he appreciates the sort of evil primal beauty of these, literal murder machines on wings or legs, right? It's a strange thing that
Perfect
he just
organism.
a perfect organism, right? Like a doll's eyes. Get right up close to it, it can barely even fucking see you.
At the
But
end,
like,
he's just like, "We can't leave without saying goodbye."
yeah, like we're
I
really
that's
like it's a
It's just it's a fun one-liner that they wanna give him, and god damn, they're gonna give him so
it's a good.
many in the next
Well,
movie.
you know what? I take it back. You are correct. Jaws 4 did teach us that sharks do occasionally enact personal vendettas against humans. So, you know what? Fair enough. Got to make sure that any of these particular sharks' brothers don't come after him. I
True.
Bro, I really wouldn't have been surprised if that happened in Riddick after a certain point, honestly. Like that would be something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he gets out. They get out, just him, the imam, and the 12-year-old. And when the
Sounds
imam
like a setup to a dirty joke.
yeah. A convict, a priest, and a 12-year-old walk into a bar. And one of them asks, though, I can't remember who it is, but one of them asks, like, what are we going to tell them about you when, somebody picks us up in this escape boat, right? Because it's not, rated to, for deep space travel. We have to go get picked up somewhere. It's a tiny little shuttle. They ask, well, what are we going to tell them about you? And he says, tell them Riddick's dead. He died somewhere on that planet. But how are you going to avoid them? You're in this, like, you're basically in a Prius driving up to a space station.
Is anyone gonna believe that you're
Not
Joe
Riddick? Like,
Schmo?
yeah,
No.
no, I'm not. I think what's his
My
name?
name's Mark
Richard?
Sinclair.
My name's Mark Sinclair. I think his name is Richard Riddick, which is just
Wait, really?
yeah. I think that's his full name.
His name is Dick Riddick?
Dick Riddick. Yeah,
Fascinating.
yeah.
What
Like,
a
no,
twist.
no. I'm not Dick Riddick. I'm Rick Diddick. Totally different guy. I can definitely I get that a lot.
Aside from his plan to, I guess, just pretend to be someone else, and if he's one of the most wanted criminals in the solar system or the universe, that might be kind of difficult to do. But setting that aside, is this supposed to be like a theme line where he's just like, the Riddick persona, evil
Died
serial
somewhere, yeah.
killer, died on that planet. Now I'm good guy.
No, it's not. As shown
No?
by what
You don't
happens in
think
this.
so?
No, well, because as shown by what happens in the second movie, if anything, Riddick only grew stronger.
Well, I mean, that's certainly true, but do you think that's what they were intending with this when they totally expected it to be a one-off?
1000% do not.
You don't?
No, I do not. I think they were literally just like, just tell them I'm dead, and they aren't going to look for me anymore. I do not think that was the plan.
Hold on, let's get the exact wording of the line.
Tell them Riddick's dead. He died somewhere on that planet. That is the exact wording of that line. I do not like. I think it.
What do you think, Chad? Is this a theme line?
I think
is this part of his arc,
this was a theme,
or was this It's just if he's just talking pragmatically.
I
Like,
think
no,
it's
I'm gonna
specifically
fake my identity.
I do not believe that this is what they intended for this, especially given where the sequel went. I
But they didn't
do.
know that at the time, Hugh. All
Oh
right,
no, I
can't
think
let
they
that you
did.
can't let that bias you. You
I think
can't.
they did. Cuz they have the line about the umbilical cord. I think they know exactly what they're planning on doing with this character.
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard you say. They're gonna completely change everything about this movie in the next movie. There's no way.
No,
There's no way.
this was
It's
all
a
a
theme
master
line.
plan. This was all a master plan. It's not a theme. It's just pragmatic.
I disagree. I disagree, Gary. Dick Riddick.
Dick.
So yeah, okay. So what concluding thoughts on Pitch Black? Um, it's a certain kind of movie that we don't really get much anymore, and so it has a certain charm there. It definitely appeals mostly to young boys who probably shouldn't be seeing an R-rated movie yet, but
Hey,
but but it's got a great premise and there's some cool stuff and some cool ideas in it. The execution leaves a lot to be desired, in my opinion. I think it's trying way too hard to be cool instead of just being cool.
yeah.
That's and it's a fine line to walk sometimes, but it's very edgy. It's very. I had this thought when we were watching the Chronicles of Riddick, not Pitch Black, but in hindsight, I think it applies to both. I cannot believe that they never tapped Zack Snyder to join this franchise. He would be. Oh,
Oh,
it'd fit him like a glove.
the only reason I think they wouldn't is because the egos would clash too much. The egos of Vin and
Yeah,
Zack Snyder would be way too at odds. I don't think
you think so?
Oh yeah.
You don't think Vin Diesel could slot right into a Zack Snyder movie?
I honestly I think if that, because there is no other good reason for why it hasn't already happened. You know what I mean? Like Zack Snyder had some serious attaché at one point. Like right after he finished the Day of the Dead remake,
Sure.
like that would have been he would have been able to get Vin Diesel for whatever he wanted, I think, at that point in their careers. And I think that's got to be the main reason. That and like Zack Snyder's style wouldn't fit for Fast and Furious, and Vin really started clinging on to that like a life raft at one point.
Yeah, well, not for Fast and Furious, but okay. So when I, watched the Chronicles of Riddick again, it reminded me a lot of Zack Snyder.
Well, you
It
know what?
looked,
Maybe the reason actually then, because I think it probably maybe the reason is just because Chronicles of Riddick did so poorly
yeah,
that like if they had made sequels to it, then maybe Zack Snyder would have been the guy.
he might have.
Oh, that actually, yeah. Maybe you know what? Maybe I'm wrong about that one. Yeah,
I
I
the Chronicles of Riddick looks better than Rebel Moon, but let's not pretend they don't have a lot in common. Ultimately, for example, like when I think of in Rebel Moon when they have the ship that's powered by like literally throwing coal into a furnace, a spaceship powered by coal, and I think about in the opening of the Chronicles of Riddick where they have a ship where the guns on the ship are just guys hanging out on the wings holding guns.
yes. Well, you know what? Since we're starting off, let's get into Chronicles.
Well, I guess, did you have any closing thoughts about Pitch Black before we
Pitch
move on?
Black is a perfectly serviceable, little edgy 13-year-old boy's dream of a movie, dude. Like I think I have a lot of respect for what it's doing in that regard. It's, it's not a masterpiece, but it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. It's doing its thing. Definitely of its era, and I do wish we got more movies like that, especially nowadays.
Fair enough. Pitch Black. It certainly is a movie. Now, now we're gonna take a huge, huge, huge leap here into a completely different type of movie with the
Yeah,
Chronicles of Riddick. Hugh, what do you think of the Chronicles of Riddick?
this
How would you describe? Okay, so if someone had just seen Pitch Black or had maybe had never seen the Chronicles of Riddick, how would you even describe this movie to them?
So I did try this experiment a couple of times, and I think really the what is the best way of doing this? Sprawling pseudo Shakespearean, pseudo Islamic space opera with almost like with 40K and Dragon Ball elements. I mean, it's
And with a main character who's kind of doing like a crazy over the top parody of like a Sylvester Stallone kind of action star, where he's got a whole bunch of quippy one-liners, and he's just so flippin' cool, man.
it's
He's the
yeah,
coolest guy ever.
it's
He's
yeah.
so he's too cool for school throughout the
School of
entire movie.
Cool Run Amok, I think, would probably
Yes.
be the best one liner to describe this movie. Because I got to admit, as weird as it is, there's a lot of cool stuff in this movie that I do still really like. Like there are things in here where I'm like, that's such a strange thing to do. I kind of love it. Like some of this, mostly it's the world building. That's really where I'm like, I don't like, you're not doing enough with it for me, but I do like what you're trying to do. You know what I mean? Like,
I
especially,
guess.
yeah.
Give me a quick example
My
of like
okay, the biggest example would be the empire of like half undead soul stealing space wizards that are on a crusade to convert or kill all all of humanity before they go to a different parallel dark universe. That I think is kind of neat. I think that's like I'm like, wow, that's ambitious, especially
yeah,
for
it
a
is
sequel to a
ambitious.
rather by the numbers monster movie.
Yeah.
Um but it's kind
I
of
do kind
fucking
of
cool,
it
man.
is
Like
kind
it's
of
kind of cool.
interesting that there's like a sort of cult of the undead who are trying to like they're a little bit like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but they're more like vampires or zombies, depending on how you want to think about it. Maybe a little bit ghosts. They're like half zombie, half ghost,
Yeah,
kind of
well,
fascist
yeah.
coded cult soldiers.
Yeah, and so okay, so like I was saying, I was rewatching this sort of through the lens of my friend Tariq's grandmother, who believes this is the story of her people, whatever that means. Um, and like if I were to like look at it from the perspective like of the Muslims, right? Like I don't know exactly what the Necromongers are supposed to be. Is it a metaphor for the Mongol invasions that ended the
You
golden
are
age of
thinking
Islam?
about this way too
Is it
much.
Christianity and the Crusades because they're worshiping a corpse on a tree, like they say in the Northmen? Like I think I put more thought into it than any of the people who made the movie, but I did really want to give her the benefit of the doubt for this.
Well, I think the first mistake you're making here in trying to understand why she thinks this is the story of her people is that you're thinking about like, okay, what would the Muslims think? But you need to think about like, what would the Nation of Islam people think?
Oh,
Okay, that's a
that's a good
whole
point.
different can of
Yeah,
worms.
that is a good point. I mean, like, well, in that case,
Are the
obviously,
Necromongers white people?
yeah, the White Devil. Yeah, obviously. They're the white devil who steals souls, like which okay, this is another thing that we have to talk about for this movie, right? Is like again, last time it was kind of a by the numbers sci-fi monster horror, right?
Yeah.
Now we've introduced not only death cults, not only literal things that we call quasi deads, which can see the future and read your mind. Those are the things that like they put him in the
Minority Report, Oracle type
yeah,
things. Yeah.
yeah, literally Minority Report. That is yeah. Um, not only do we have air elementals like jinns, right? Like that are a separate
Played
species
by Judy
played by
Dench.
Dame Judy Dench of all people, which like goddamn, dude. Like not only do we have that, not
Quick
only
shout out.
is Riddick oh,
Sorry,
go ahead.
you keep going.
Yeah,
You're on a roll.
not only is Riddick a Saiyan, essentially, he's a Furian, and that explains why he's like, inherently primal he is the last of his species, or one of the last of his species, a defiant barbarian race, right? Not only do we have all of that, but then we also introduce the fact that there is indeed a soul, and if you are separate, if it is separated from your body, you will die.
Yeah. Well, that's the least strange part of this
I think
for
with
me.
all the sci-fi space epic stuff, like, you give me like different species and everything like that, that's one thing. But as soon as you start introducing that humanity, like, legitimately, that we have proved that there is a soul now because we've seen somebody who can take it from you and kill you with it. Like,
There's a lot to
there's a
unpack.
lot to unpack here. Yeah.
Yeah, we've introduced, like you said, like elementals who are kind of like half ghosts, half not. They're like the good version of what the evil necromongers are, where they're like half alive and half not, and they can kind of they bend in and out of being like corporeal and being a ghost to as it suits them in a way. It's kind of
Yes.
how they fight in some instances. It's kind of interesting as an idea.
We're talking about the Lord Marshal of the Necromongers, right? Who
Yes.
like can project his soul to other places, like, and
Yeah,
use
so
that
he
to.
like he sort of teleports. He can sort of like disappear where like you can't stab him because he's in his ghost form briefly, kind of deal. You know, that sort of thing. And then Judy Dench is the same sort of way where she can kind of like go ghost and like you can't actually touch her and she can glide and float and stuff. I don't
Yeah,
really know too much
sort
about what
of.
she's supposed to be. Brief shout out to Dame Duty, Dame Judy Dench, who is the best actor in this movie, and it's not close. She takes awful material, awful dialogue that they give her, and like actually manages to breathe some life into it. It's pretty impressive. I always appreciate that she is willing to be in movies like this. Like
Oh
Helen
yeah.
Mirren being willing to be in Fast X, for example. I always like that sort of thing where like really, really quite talented and prestigious actors are willing to be in these types of movies. I appreciate that. Anthony Hopkins is another one who will show up in a movie like this from time to time. I appreciate it. These movies would be so much worse without them. But yes, um, there's so many new things we introduce in
Yes.
this.
Real quick, Jegson Voorhees wants to know why the soul is a big deal because it doesn't necessarily equate to an afterlife. I think the reason that I find that to be such a big deal personally, right, is because, like, this is something that has now set, like, it literally confirms the idea that humanity is set apart. Like, in most sci-fi things like this, you wouldn't get that, right? Like, you would get more of the Isaac Asimov sort of impression that we are all, some form of animal, and there's nothing really special, or it's like a very Copernican take, to use Neil Dad Ass Tyson's like words, right? But this does indeed confirm that human beings do indeed have a soul, and I mean, like, it does work in the movie's favor, right? Because they, like, the Necromongers convert people to their faith
Yeah, they're
through
like a
these
cult.
displays, right? Which, I mean, it makes perfect sense, because, like, I feel like if you can show physical proof of your faith in that way, right, that's clearly not a trick, like, obviously that's going to work. So I am kind of like, I do think that that is doing a lot for the movie in a very underrated way, but I also
Well,
think
yeah.
that it is a very big deal in an underrated way that the movie doesn't really think about, right? Like, it
Well,
doesn't.
it's also a big departure from the previous movie. Now, the previous film, Pitch Black, they bring up religion a little bit. We got the imam who's obviously religious. We have like a very clear atheist character who gets killed, and then Vin Diesel. It is Pitch Black where he talks about how like he's not an atheist. He believes in God. He just hates him. Is that Pitch
Yes.
Black?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we got it a little bit of edginess there. Uh, Careful not to cut yourself. But in Pitch Black, nothing about Pitch Black makes you think that, for all intents and purposes, magic exists in this universe.
Yeah.
You know, it's still hard sci-fi, right? We're being loosey goosey with logic, but it's still hard sci-fi. This, it takes the full jump into fantasy territory with
Yeah.
magic and different types of beings and like spirits and ghosts and magic and things of that nature.
Yeah, and like I
So
do
it's
really,
a
yeah.
big jump.
It's a
It's a
big,
very different type of movie.
yeah, very big jump, and I do like, I do like the idea that, I'm most interested by, like, throughout the movie with the idea that somebody has like been to the underworld, whatever the underverse is, and come back with magic powers that essentially makes them the most dangerous group of conquerors that space has ever seen, right?
Yes.
I think that, like, my questions raised from this movie are like, are we gonna get more of that? Right? Like, because that's kind of cool. Like, I want to see where that goes, and I know that that's a big promise to fulfill, but I want like, this is world
Spoiler alert,
changing.
this
Yeah.
movie ends with him in charge of that faction. So you would expect that if we're going to continue this story, it would involve that sort of thing. Like what does he do with that power? But it sounds like, based on what you've described from Riddick, that they don't do
Oh no,
that.
so in Riddick, the Necromongers are gone. They get written out of the movie very early on.
But this movie ends with him as their new leader.
Yes, yes, it does. What ends up happening? Okay, I summed it up for you, right? 30 minutes is the first 30 minutes of Riddick is Riddick surviving being abandoned on a hostile planet like a total badass. He befriends wild animals, and he makes himself immune to the poison of the mud snake monsters that live there so that he can better eat them. And he basically becomes the master of his domain. But the reason that he's on that planet, I realize I forgot to explain, is that um, for however long it's been, I assume 10 years, he's been the leader of the Necromongers, but he's always refused to take the oath of office to become the next Lord Marshal, so they don't like him very much. But he's gotten kind of fat and happy drinking and having orgies with hot Necromonger ladies. So he
As you
decide,
do.
as you do, there's a rather gratuitous scene, geared towards the exact audience for this movie. Hell yeah, of four like just four naked Necromonger babes just like writhing all over each other in bed and like begging him to come back to it. But because he's been doing this for a while, but there's no satisfaction in it, man. So he wants Carl Urban's character Vaco to take him to his home planet. He wants to see Furia, and they've purged all the records of Furia. They don't exist anymore, right? They like, you can't find it anywhere because the Lord Marshal was scared of it. And Vaco's the only one who knows. So he allows Vaco to put a bunch of Necromongers on a spaceship and take him to a random planet that they've called Furia, or that they're pretending is Furia. And they betray him. And the whole thing is, he's like, the question isn't how did this happen to me? It's how didn't I see this coming? Like that, I got civilized having orgies and drinking. I need to be an animal again. And that's the trajectory of the movie.
Cool.
Yeah. So they're gone. They're out of the they're not in the movie. They're gone.
That's wild.
It's fucking
That's
crazy.
wild.
It is, and the one of the line, because we're not going to talk about this movie, but the line is, he says he grabs some sand as he's standing on the edge of a cliff where they're about to Mufasa him off of it, essentially. He says, we were supposed to be going to Furia, but we ended up on a place called not Furia.
You kidding me?
I am not kidding you. That's the actual line from the movie.
Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot to take in. A lot to take in.
And then the fourth movie is supposed to be called Riddick Furia. So the fourth movie is like this actual sequel to this one, essentially, where he's actually like, we did 2 hours of him just fucking around on some moon called Not Furia, only for him to be reset to exactly where he is basically at the end, basically right at the beginning of the movie. Like nothing worthwhile happens. It's such a waste of time.
Interesting. Can't wait for the fourth one. Vin. He's gonna knock it out of the park with this one, I can tell. His ego, as we all know, has only gotten bigger, so I think we have a lot of great things to look forward to with the last
the
the
final
next
final the final but probably not final installment of the Riddick franchise.
Yes. So speaking of great dialogue, Judi Dench narrates the beginning of Chronicles of Riddick, and she's talking about the Necromongers, right? And I'll spare you some of the details, but my favorite bit at the end kind of encapsulates the whole sort of like edgy anti-hero vibe that these movies are going for. She's talking about the Necromongers, that they're stronger, stranger, half alive and half something else. If we are to survive, a new balance must be found. In normal times, evil would be fought by good, but in times like these, well, it should be fought by another kind of evil. Bum, bum, bum,
Bum,
bum,
bum,
bum.
bum, 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 bum. It's actually kind of
Pretty cool.
It's actually kind of a cool little motif for his theme song. I got to admit, it's not bad. But
well, I like because obviously a lot of this movie is a response to Lord of the Rings, but I think my favorite thing about it is them saying like this isn't like Lord of the Rings about good fighting evil. This is about cool anti-hero evil fighting bad guy evil. Strap in. Oh, it's just so funny to me.
It is really
so then we cut to another planet and Vin Diesel, but with dreadlocks and a beard on some wintry ice planet, is being chased by bounty hunters who are trying to get him. And the bounty hunters are flying a ship, as I previously mentioned, where on the wings of the ship, instead of just having guns, they have guys holding guns and dangling
in the air, held on to the wings of the ship by safety harnesses.
Straps. Yeah, exactly. It's the funniest ship design I think I've ever seen. Because he cuts a couple loose and they fall to their death, and then he's like, "Get out there! You're my new gunner." It's like, just put guns on the ship. You have space travel. You have intergalactic space travel. You don't.
You have intergalactic space travel, but let's be fair, Jamie. They are still paying doctors for surgical jobs with 20 menthol cool cigarettes. So there's clearly not we might have already peaked, I think is what this movie is getting at. Clearly, humanity's technology peaked with the menthol cool.
So yeah, we get this opening action scene where he's really awesome, and the guys who are sent to go get him, they can't get him because he's just too cool,
Yeah, and
he says
the movie is going to fall really quickly into a very repetitive cycle of Riddick enters situation. Situation appears to be insurmountable, and everybody else points this out. Riddick approaches with very calm, cool, collected attitude. Riddick gets out of it quite easily. Riddick moves on to next situation.
Yes, and so this is the Gary Stew formula, and Vin Diesel's a huge fan of it. And I think we like to have fun talking about how cool Vin Diesel is in these movies. But on a serious note, I just want to say, part of the reason that these characters aren't actually really all that compelling is that they're never really vulnerable at all. Yeah. We like it when guys that are cool in the face of real tangible danger, not when they're never really in any danger because they're just too cool for it. They're
just too cool and I mean that's really they're
badass.
Too cool and badass and smart and just they plan everything 10
It's a very
steps ahead.
Juvenile sort of power fantasy sort of thing that is really funny and it's fun. But it doesn't actually
it doesn't translate to compelling character work,
No, and it doesn't actually become unironically really cool.
Yeah.
because of that.
And
Um,
that's the pattern this is going to fall into for him. That's basically his character arc. So we need to get some level of, intrigue and vulnerability from something else, because otherwise this is going to run really stale, right? So
yes.
meanwhile, we have Carl Urban and Tandy Newton essentially doing Macbeth in the sidelines.
Yes. Yes, they are. She's very much a Lady Macbeth in this.
And I
Really
like
quick, I wanted to give the fine people who maybe haven't seen this movie in a while, or maybe they haven't seen it, just a little taste of like what this really cool, too cool for school edgelord dialogue is like in the movie. So one of the first examples we get, right, where Toombs, the bounty hunter who is after Riddick, gets him, and this is what Riddick says to him. He says, "You made 3 mistakes. First, you took the job. Second, you came light. A 4-man crew for me? Fucking insulting. But the worst mistake you made, empty gun rack." like that's the dialogue in this movie.
Can you get the point to the point of that where he asks him the questions and he says, "You better know the answer."
Hold on. Okay, yeah. Okay. Let's see. Hey. Let's see. It's like that's what the sheet said. What planet? Helion Prime. Whoa, where are you going? Last question, and you better get this one right, Merc. Whose ship is this? And he says, "Mine." And then you hear yelling because he gets thrown out of the ship.
Yeah, well, like it's funny because he says wrong answer in the actual movie. He says wrong answer, and then you hear yelling, and he gets thrown out of the ship and falls.
Oh yeah, this transcript forgot the wrong answer part. I can't believe them.
I bet
yeah,
you it improved. I bet you Vin Diesel.
interesting.
I bet you Vin Diesel went like, "Oh no, I need to say something cool to end it. It can't just like end on that. Like, no.
Yeah.
I gotta have the last word." Because remember, by this point, he has full rights over this franchise. This is him.
Yes.
All of this is the beginning of him basically writing these movies for himself. Like there are other writers attached, but everything he does is a product of his mind in this one by this point.
Yes. Oh, certainly. So someone makes a good point in the chat. Who was it? Ephraim Winslow says, "Rule of Cool works best when it's geared towards comedy because Ash Williams, with awareness of how invincible he is, would be insufferable. See Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool." I think there's definitely some truth in that.
Oh, for sure.
And Trayvon Washington adds, "I like at the end when Riddick learns he had the power to be edgy and cool all along." Exactly. That's like that's how he wins in the end. It's just by being awesome.
Yeah.
But he was awesome from the beginning, so he doesn't really get more awesome. He just has an opportunity to prove how awesome he is. That's what the story is.
Yeah.
In this one, because in the first one, very broadly speaking, he has a bit of an arc. It's really just about the audience's perception of him, right? Because you think he's the danger, but by the end, it's like, oh no, he's not the danger. He's dangerous, but he's got a good heart. Ultimately, it's not really an arc of his character, but more of an arc of our perception of him. In this movie, he goes from being badass and awesome to being badass and awesome.
To being just even more badass and awesome. Everybody is just super impressed with him by the end of it. Very similar trajectory.
They literally put him on a throne at the end of the movie. You're our new leader because you're so badass and awesome.
Because you keep what you kill.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Vlaco and Dame Vlaco. So Macbeth and Lady Macbeth are doing, their thing on the sidelines of this movie. But so he discovers that the Imam from Pitch Black has put a bounty out on him. He knows immediately, of course, who put the bounty out from hearing which planet it was. He says it to himself as he's flying the ship away. He goes, "Oh yeah, now this bounty from a holy man. I knew I couldn't trust people. I knew people would only come back to hurt me, showing trust and whatever." It's like, okay, all right, that's
that word is friend.
Yeah.
Can only end bad when you let someone get too close. Bad for them.
Oh my god.
That's the line. That's the actual line in the movie.
Line. It's worse than me making fun of it.
Yes. Yes. It is worse than you were doing it justice. Yeah.
Oh my god,
It's
it's so fucking good, dude. Holy
bad.
shit, I love
Bad.
Vin Diesel movies. So he goes there, but like, so, and why did the imam put the bounty on him in the first place? Why did why is Toombs there to bring him back alive, right?
Well, I think doesn't Riddick say that like that when he confronts Imam about it, he's like, "You're the only one who knew where I was going." So it had
Well,
to
yeah,
have been
yeah, you know,
him.
but why? Yes, but
But
why?
why?
What is the reason?
Don't
It's
they say that he
it,
was pressured to, he had to give him up kind of thing?
it but why was he pressured to? Why are they looking for him? Because they legitimately believe that he is going, like, they're like, "Oh, the Necromongers are coming. We need Riddick." That's the we
Yeah.
need this guy who I was on like 5 years ago, kind of just barely got me out of a jam with some carnivorous aliens.
Mhm. I mean, he was pretty badass, but I does he know that he's like a super special like savior?
No, he dies before they even learn what a Furion is.
Right.
Oh well, no, sorry.
So
The Judi Dench assumes that he must be a Furion, and I think she's the one. Like, he tells her about it, and Judi Dench is like, "Oh, that's the guy we need." Because he's probably the one. The Lord Marshal, we will come to find out from Judi Dench, had a sort of like, there was a prophecy that a Furion child would be the one to kill him, so he strangled all the Furion babies
yeah,
with their own umbilical cords. Now, what we're going to see him do to destroy other planets is much more efficient than doing it that way. He
yes.
literally just nukes them. Like, he flies down, puts a bunch of like really neat looking statues in their planet, and then essentially nukes them from orbit, which
Mhm.
you would think is a lot
More efficient than
yeah,
strangling them individually with their
a
own
lot less
umbilical cords.
room for error, I feel like,
Yeah.
than trying to like track down every single pregnant Furion mother and strangle the baby with its own umbilical cord. But that's the way he chose to do it. Um, and Judi Dench has, based on what the Imam has told her, has come to believe that actually they need him because he's the only one who can save the universe from the Necromongers. He must be the prophesized hero of legend.
And to know to Ephraim Winslow in chat who asks, they don't really tell us what a Furion is that is different than just, I guess, every other bog standard human being. They call them human beings, don't they?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're
kinda.
humans.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
humans. Yeah,
So a Furion is just a bit more stubborn and aggressive. That's really it.
yeah.
I guess all the other Furions are also really cool and edgy. I that's
They're like
literally the edginess is in their
it's
DNA.
Conan the Barbarian,
Yeah.
basically. Like, they are a defiant race of super strong. Like, they're Saiyans. They're Saiyans. They're just like the best fighters who
Yeah.
can go like hardcore mode when they get mad. That's why they're
Yeah.
called Furions.
Yeah, so he's the prophesied savior child who is going to save the world from the evil demons.
Yes.
Kind of a big departure from the first movie, I think you could say.
Yeah.
Um,
And real quick,
but yeah,
Georgius Rests asks, didn't he tell them Riddick died on that planet? Well, no, actually. He's been telling his daughter all this bedtime stories about the time Riddick saved him from some aliens that were going to eat him. So
yeah,
he's just been telling people that he met Riddick,
yeah.
essentially.
And so does Judy Dench ask him to put out the bounty, or does Judy Dench pull out the bounty? Put out the bounty.
He's trying to get her to take the bounty down. And she's like, well, if you kill me, you'll never get to do that. But she kind of has what she wants, so you would think that she could just... Because, like, he has no real reason to kill her, right? Like, he threatens her immediately. That's his MO, his go-to,
Yeah.
is to roll for intimidation. But really, like, she has what she wants, so he could say, you better take this bounty off, and she could go, okay. Yeah, done. no problem. Like, let's talk. Your goal has been achieved. Like,
Yeah. That's a,
both of
yeah.
you, both of you, you
Why
like.
does she do that?
Why doesn't she? She plays very fast and loose with it, or she like she dangles it like a carrot for a little bit. But it's like you don't have to be doing that. You've got him. You're getting everything you wanted from putting the bounty out in the first place. But in the middle of their conversation, the cops come to arrest him for being a spy because they think he's a spy because they saw him show up, right? So I guess maybe he's not as sneaky as he is going to be later in the movie. But the cops show up to arrest him. He kills a bunch of them. And then he walks away. And then like later that same night, the Necromongers invade. Even though and this is another interesting thing, right? Is that like we don't seem sure that the Necromongers are real.
But they're real?
Well, because Keith David is like, there's stories. There's stories of dead planets, and we think that they're coming for us.
Before they show up.
Before they show up, that like they
real.
don't know
Okay.
that they exist. Like for some reason, we've added that bit of intrigue as well. I guess maybe to make it more believable that they wouldn't have planetary defenses lined up, but they kind of just blow through them anyway. So what does it really matter? I don't like it's a weird little bit of lore that doesn't do much of anything for
The lore, I think you could describe it as, just a little unwieldy.
yeah. You
In
could
this
call
movie.
yeah. It's I'm
To put
sure
it
there's a
very, very
coherent
mildly.
way of explaining it all, but like given the way what the movie rides it to get to, it's just not clean.
No.
A little sloppy. But they invade, they blow up the planet, they kill Keith David. He's out of the franchise for now. You
Well,
never
see,
know.
they learned their lesson because Keith David actually does make a heroic sacrifice by distracting them so that his, child and wife can get away. So they learned how to actually do a heroic sacrifice this time. So that's good. That's an improvement.
Yeah, okay. So you know what? People, we've been mentioning this in the chat already for quite a bit, that there is another Furion. There is another Furion in this movie. All right. Now, he is shown, as many are saying, to basically just be a normal guy. Right? Now, the Lord Commander was told that a young Furion male would be the one to kill him in the prophecy from whoever does prophecies. The Oracle at Delphi, which is, I assume, a planet in this situation, right?
Yeah.
He is told that a Furion male will kill him. So he goes on a genocidal mission to kill all the Furion babies.
Sure.
Except,
so far, so good.
Except for one whom he allows to be essentially like one of his top priests. Who kind of why so why right, but that top priest reveals this at one point to Riddick, and then just like for no real good reason immediately suicides by walking into the scorching blazing 700-degree Fahrenheit sunlight of crematoria. But why? Right? Like, why would he? So like why does he do that? Because you would think that if he's like, oh my gosh, another Furion, that we're not all dead, our race still exists, then like why wouldn't he just help him? Why does he need to? And really, like, so like what you were saying, Mordaka, is that like he's shown to just sort of be a regular guy, but they do sort of, when he walks out into the sun, he like puts a power fist up as he does it.
He does.
He puts a power fist up as he does it, and it takes a lot longer than you might expect somebody for the sun to bring him down. So like it is still showing that he is plenty tough and resilient that he can take that kind of punishment, I think is what they're trying to go for. But like, but why the suicide?
Well, they want it to be, I think, because he was converted essentially by the Mind Stone into being evil, like in the Avengers 2012. It's that sort of thing, but then like somehow he gets a little bit of a change of heart, and he realizes because he's a Furion or whatever. He's like, you know what? They made me do so many horrible, awful things, and so I'm just gonna kill myself. It's kind of like that's sort of the vibe, that he feels so bad for all the things and all the destruction he's caused while being part of this cult, that instead of like, oh my gosh, someone of my fellow species is still alive, I will work with you to beat the bad guy. Instead, he's just like, nah, I'm gonna kill myself.
Yeah, and like so
I don't think it
Butters.
makes a lot of sense, but they're definitely going for the like guilt thing, that he'd rather just go out like this, like somewhat nobly, I guess, instead
I
of
guess, but like, so
I
Butters is I just assume he kept it secret somehow. See, like, I don't. That's not satisfying enough for me. I'm gonna need to know how. If he did keep it secret, I'm gonna need to know how that happened. Because like, if he was trying to be that thorough, I would
yeah,
assume that the Lord Marshal
would do a
like
test or
would
something.
not be. Yeah, like they have to convert, right? So like the way that we see the big conversion ceremony is that he like offers it to everybody, but if he was told that a Furion male would do it, would kill him, you would think he wouldn't even offer that for that group, right?
Yeah.
Like that just,
Yeah.
yeah. I just don't buy
Especially
it.
if yeah, no, I just don't really buy it. And also his death scene is kind of like, I
It's
don't really
pointless.
think it
It's
makes
kind
a
of
lot of
point. I don't.
sense.
I think it's kind of pointless, and it's just like it's meant to be kind of. It's meant to be cool. Like most of the things
Hmm.
in the movie, it's like meant to be. It's meant to make you go like, wow, defiant to the end, putting his power fist up even as the sun burns him to death. But like, it just doesn't. It's just not. It's a really weird point to include in the movie, and it only raises questions. Yeah. And he also does not have. So people have also been talking, right, about how they retconned. And I don't like. Somebody said that this happens in the game. I don't. You'll have to chat. You'll have to help me out with this one because I don't know how they don't do it in the movie, really. But people have said that they sort of retcon the shine on the eyes as just something that Riddick naturally has. Now, it's not something that Furions naturally have because the other Furion doesn't have it. So, is it like, what is that if it's not the shine? Um. Oh, the ancestors did it to him.
Anyway, so the Necronomicons, they show up, and they drop their landing ships and their massive armies and everything.
They do
And
call
then
them Necros a lot in this movie, and it gets close, and I'm a fan of that.
and so then they come into the very diverse, like, multicultural Senate chamber, I guess you could call it, where they're all gathered, and they're like, they're pitching them on joining their death cult, right? They're
Yeah.
like, if you convert, you won't feel any pain anymore because you won't really be alive. So no more pain, no more independent thoughts and everything like that. You'll have like unity and purpose and all that sort of stuff. And they're like, no, we're a diverse multicultural society, and we like that.
We will
And
never
then
change our faith. What is that faith? Many.
yeah, they're very committed to their
They're very
multicultural
committed
society.
to attending services at the interfaith centers.
But then Vin Diesel shows up, and he's like, I am here. I am Vin Diesel, savior of multiculturalism. I will protect you. And he tries to protect them. He
Well, he
fights
does.
off.
He basically
Yeah,
just says like, "I'm not here to convert, but I do want a piece of him." And he's pointing at the big guy
the
who
big
killed his
guy.
friend, right? Who killed the
Yeah,
imam because vengeance is
and yeah,
is everything to him. So he does this really badass, cool action scene because, of course, the Necromongers walk around with daggers in their back. They literally walk around with knives in their backs, which
Do
is
they all, or did just that guy have one in there that
several
he
of them
didn't?
have it. Several of them have
Okay.
knives in their backs.
I don't understand the utility of that, if I'm being
I don't know
honest.
if it's utility or symbolic. Like, I mean,
What's the symbolism?
that
Yeah, what's the symbolism, Hugh? What does it
this
mean?
what it,
What's it a metaphor for?
would you give me a fucking second? Like, Jesus, it's like it's symbolic that, like, I mean, the whole culture is you keep what you kill, right? So is that like a symbol for like, ah, yes, we have been stabbed in the back by we you've
You're
stabbed
floundering.
you've stabbed
You're
your brothers
floundering,
in the
Hugh.
back, so now here you but like remember, I don't know, it's like it seems like I don't know why, I don't know what the utility is except to enable this scene where he pulls the dagger out of the guy's back and kills him with it. um I don't know why so many of them have it. I don't know what the symbolism would be, but they're very symbolic culture, Jamie, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
They clearly have all these like rules and rituals and things that you have to follow to be one of them. So like
Hmm.
you get these ceremonies for like Vako gets a ceremony for becoming, you know, first among generals eventually.
Yeah.
Um they also
Oh,
talk
I
about
understand that they're a very ritualistic culture and people. I get that.
we're
I'm
already
not.
dead, maybe. Like that's a good
I'm
one, I
not
guess.
quite under sure. I'm not quite as sure about the knife in the back. That actually is just a knife in their back that anyone can grab
Yeah, no,
at any time.
I don't think it makes sense. I'm just saying like is like why is this included if not like it like if you're going to include it in the scene, right? To enable this action thing, right? You're sitting there writing like, okay, so like Necromongers, some of them have knives in their back. Some of the generals have knives in the back of their armor. You ask yourself why, right? And
I
like it's
think
like
I think the real disconnect here is that I don't know if that the writers asked themselves why. I think they just thought of it,
well,
and
I'm
no one in the writers' room asked any questions. They said, "Uh-huh." Then what
okay.
happens?
And that they're like they didn't have an answer. They didn't do the. They were like, oh,
No
okay,
one
I
even
lied.
asked.
Oh, all right, no, yeah. They're like waiting for somebody to ask so that they could bullshit and answer, and they're like, oh, okay, all right, oh yeah,
I have
next,
no
and
questions. I
I have
have no notes.
yeah,
You're
no
greenlit.
questions. What happens next?
Well, what happens
He
next is
stabs him
that
with it.
yeah, he wins the cool action set piece, and then they're like, "Hey, you know, Vin Diesel, you're like super cool and super special, so we're gonna capture you and we're gonna bring you to a room with a bunch of Minority Report oracles, who are like some weird combination of the oracles from Minority Report and like the what are they called in David Lynch's Dune? Like,
Oh, the guildsmen, the
yeah,
guild helmsmen, or the Bene Gesserit. Yeah, the ones who can
yeah,
see. Yeah. Oh my God! Wait a minute. Hold on. We have to pause for a second here because chat has just dug up the source of the eye shine, as according to the game.
okay,
It is a gift from a goddess-like creature named Shira, who appears to serve as a sort of spiritual guide to Riddick, helping him awaken his dormant Furian abilities. And it says something like, he's been blind for far too long, and grants him the eye shine.
okay. Well, okay, that is a more fitting explanation for the world of the Chronicles of Riddick than it is for Pitch Black, if you
Yeah,
know what I mean.
yes, I
If
sure
you're
do.
gonna change literally everything else, changing that too also makes sense instead of the like pack of menthol cools.
Yeah, and then they just say, "Oh, he was lying about it." Like he lies to, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's cool. Because lying is cool. Don't let people too close.
Yeah.
No such word as friend. Things always end
It's always
bad
like that for
for
them.
them. So then he's brought before these oracles, who are like saying like basically you need to kill Riddick. He's the one. He's the prophesied one. He's gonna kill the Lord Master guy. You gotta kill him. You gotta kill him. Kill him. and they're like, "Oh shit, maybe we should try to kill him." And then they try and they fail because he's so awesome. And they have like spears and stuff, but he's like flipping them all around, and he escapes because he's so awesome. And then he's caught. Oh no, he's not caught by the Necromongers while he's in their like giant palace thing and surrounded by them. But then he gets, I guess, okay. So I guess
Well,
the
they
logic's
just bring him
when
in. Like he kills the guy, and he says, "Well, you keep what you kill. Why don't you come with me?" And like he's about to say no, and then Tandy Newton comes in and seduces him, and he starts sniffing her. She's like, "Why don't you come on into the necropolis? It's a rare invitation." And so they just let him walk in, and then they find out he's Furion, so they say to kill him. But the other Furion like disables the thing that's like basically the lockdown, right, to let him get away, and he just gets out.
oh, I missed that bit. Yeah,
Yeah, he just gets out.
right.
He breaks free.
And then, but then he's immediately caught by the same bounty hunter with a new team, who is like, "I got you now for real this time," and they shoot him with a net, and
Yes,
now he's their
yes,
prisoner. But
but that was all part of his plan.
yes, because he's trying to escape. Yeah.
Well, he's trying to escape, but also he's trying to get to where, because he found out from the imam that Jack, the girl, the 12-year-old bald girl from 5 years ago in Pitch Black, has been taken to prison in crematoria because in the imam's words, well, she idolized you and she hated that you left, so she decided to become just like you and get sent to a triple max slam, which they say for prison, a triple max slam where basically, so she just does exactly what he does to become like, she wants to
I want
become,
to be just like you.
yeah, we're creating
And he's
girl
like,
Riddick.
"Huh, we'll see about that."
And so he finds out that she is being held on the prison on crematoria, so he deliberately engineers his capture by this mercenary squad and then taunts them into taking him to crematoria.
Yeah, no, in hindsight, you're right, but that's insane. So I forgot
It's
that that's what happened.
yeah, you thought like, oh wait, he's actually on the back foot. No, he's literally never put on the back
He's
foot once in this movie.
7 steps ahead the whole
He's
time.
always 7 steps
Can't
ahead,
be contained.
playing 4D chess. And like the way he taunts them too is he's just like, they're like, oh, we could take him to this prison, and he goes, hey, that prison's not bad. The protein waffles are delicious over there. I know the breakfast guy. And then he's like, oh, okay. Well, what about we take you to this one? He goes, hey, that prison keeps a cell open for me just in case I ever decide to drop in. It's like, okay, well,
He's so cool. He's
yeah.
been to all the prisons.
I've gone to every prison, and I've escaped from every single one, except the only one that just happens to be within range of this ship, which is called Crematoria, which also just so happens to be exactly where I wanted you to take me.
He's so cool.
He's so fucking cool, dude. So it works.
Carl Urban gets placed in charge of going to find this guy. Carl Urban's like, first of all, they call humans breeders, which is just very funny, I think.
What the fuck? Yeah, I was like, why did you pick that? Why? I forgot about that word.
And so Carl Urban's like, oh, all this work for a breeder, and he's like, do as you're told. He's like, okay. And
That
so
word
he's
kind
going
of
to be.
comes out of nowhere, too, where I'm just like, what does that mean? Like, why are you calling him that?
Well, I guess because they, in their cult. Yeah, well, it's confusing, right? Because your first thought is like, oh, well, they sort of reproduce by converting people, not breeding, because they're kind of dead. They're like vampires,
Yeah.
for all intents and purposes. But like, they still need people to breed. Like, if they just spread forever, then there would be no new people to convert, right? Because
Well,
they don't
yeah, and like, are they
reproduce.
going to be? Well, I guess the idea is that once they convert everybody, they go to the Underverse, and everybody just becomes immortal. So it's kind of like a Judgment Day situation.
I guess so. Are they immortal now? I feel like they would be, right? I mean, that they can be killed, but are they?
I
do
don't
they?
know. I don't know.
I think they are. I don't think I would be surprised if they age, given that they're undead. You know?
Yeah, well, like, or half. Yeah, are they? Yeah. are they undead? Is anybody but the Lord Marshal actually undead?
Um,
Because
actually,
he
that's a good question.
and also
'Cause
so okay.
I sort of assumed they were, but are they not? Because I thought being converted essentially meant becoming half dead. Does it not?
Well, because they call the prophecies, the prophesizing ones, the quasi deads, right? Which means like sort of dead.
Yeah.
So like
But I thought
but
they
they look
all
dead,
were.
right? Like they look the
Sure.
prophesizing ones actually do look like they are dead. The rest of them are just like sort of vampiric looking people, and
Okay,
none of
no. Okay,
them
so
really like.
the description at the very beginning of the movie says he alone, being the Lord Marshal, he alone has made a pilgrimage to the gates of the Underverse and returned a different being, stronger, stranger, half alive and half something else. So I think he's the only one that's actually undead. All the other people have just been sort of, borged, if you
Yeah.
will.
Okay, but there's also a problem with that that confused me a little bit, right? Is that they sort of imply that this is not the first Lord Marshal.
They do, don't they? But this one has been to the gates of the underworld and now is half alive and half dead and has some
Is that
magic powers.
well, yeah, I guess that is what they're trying. I guess that is what they're saying. But like, how would they have managed to convert anybody before if they like? Because the whole thing is like, hey, look at my power. Here's where
Because
I've
isn't
been. I've been to the
yeah,
gates of the Underverse, and now I've come back with unnatural gifts. You should join me because I'm going to take you there. Like you would think that that's how the religion started, not like how
you
it's
would think
going,
that.
right?
Yeah, because otherwise how did they convert people to their I guess did they convert people to their cause the old-fashioned way? Just like by being
Literature,
persuasive?
door to door.
Yeah,
Are
yeah.
you are you
Pamphlets.
are you interested in learning more about our Lord Marshal and Savior? Uh,
I I guess. The
This
lore,
is
it's airtight. Yes, that's right, Kevo.
yeah. So but like the Lord Marshal's so like if Vaco kills the Lord Marshal and becomes the Lord Marshal
They don't have the magic powers unless he goes to the
and let yeah
gates
so
of the
he gets to
Underverse.
go to the gates of the Underverse. That's like he gets to do it. Is that like what they do? They like every time a new Lord Marshal is chosen, that guy stops everything for a while and goes on a pilgrimage to get his special powers, and then
Yeah, but she says he alone has made the pilgrimage, which makes it seem like he's the
he's the
first Roman
first
emperor
one.
to do it. Yeah. Before that, they were just a regular empire. Maybe still a death cult, but like this is the first emperor they've had that has actually become sort of half alive,
I
half
that
dead.
one I also just like I don't know if I buy that either. Like that's just one of
Yeah.
the yeah. I feel like
It
that
would make
doesn't
more sense if he
gel.
was the first one,
Yeah,
right? And if he
yeah,
was kind of immortal and he's been their Lord Marshal for like forever,
yeah.
like that's interesting. And he's
And
going to
and
take
then
them all.
Vaco is like plotting to kill him and be the first one to do it, but they definitely imply through that stuff that like it's happened multiple times that they've changed
Yeah.
it's changed hands, which is
And
like
also the whole conversion thing doesn't really seem to it's like I don't there's like a mind control aspect, but it only seems to work on people whether like I don't know, it's very inconsistent.
yeah. And I guess like maybe if they are technically dead, then it makes more sense why the other Furion would kill himself because he's allowed himself to be mutated into something that is.
That's how I was reading it at first. That they're basically vampires, right?
Yeah,
And
I
and
guess
maybe
that makes sense.
maybe the Furion are like strong-willed enough that they can maintain some part of their original soul while half dead, but ultimately they still become a monster of sorts, you know? And so that's why he kills himself by going out into the sunlight. It's very vampire coded. Um, but but also we're not told that that's true at all. So I d we're told that actually the Lord Marshal is the only one who is undead. So
Yeah, it's unwieldy, like we
yeah,
said
it's
earlier.
a little
could have done with some polish, I think.
Hmm.
Um,
But anyway,
nonetheless,
his
he
4D chess works out, and they get sent down to this prison, and they go like in like a mine shaft on like a little cart for a fun little
yeah, and he
ride.
kills like Larry the Cable Guy or whoever whoever.
I don't think it was Larry the Cable Guy, but
the
I could be wrong. I've been wrong before.
yeah
So now he's like,
well,
go
yeah.
ahead.
So now they're he's lowered into the prison. He's made it into hell, literally hell, because so the planet Crematoria is, and this is a very important thing that we're going to come back to at the end of this second act, basically, right? Um, on the daylight side of the planet, it is said out loud that it is 700 plus degrees Fahrenheit when the sun is up, right? And on the night
Pretty
side
hot.
of the planet, it's minus 300 degrees Fahrenheit below zero,
Yeah.
or 300 degrees Fahrenheit below zero. That is those two numbers are going to be very, very important.
So I'm gonna get a little nitpicky here with our world building. This planet would not have an atmosphere at all. You wouldn't be able to breathe on it.
Well, that's why they're underneath it.
Otherwise the atmosphere would help regulate the temperature a bit more.
That's why they're underneath it. Duh.
Sure. Until they're on the surface,
Somehow,
breathing
yeah.
perfectly
Until
fine. Yeah.
until they're on the surface running. Like it running in that.
At least in really quick. At least okay. So obviously we go from sci-fi to sci-fi fantasy type thing between these two movies. But I do appreciate that at least Pitch Black tried to do things like, oh, when they first landed on the planet, it's like, is anyone else having trouble breathing? It's like, the atmosphere is thinner here,
Yeah.
and so they're just slightly more winded and out of breath. Does that really last throughout the movie? No, it's quickly forgotten. But at least it was something, right?
Yeah.
At least it was a detail. It was interesting. In this, it's like, oh, we're on a planet where one side is scorching hot and the other side is like, well below freezing. It's like, well,
So far
they wouldn't
below.
have an
Okay, so
atmosphere.
do you remember a movie called Wind River, where there's like
I do.
there's blood in the snow, and how they talk about how if you run at a particular temperature, below zero, the cold air actively basically scars up the inside of your lungs and makes you cough up blood.
Mm-hmm.
Well, apparently, if you slap on a trench coat and some goggles, you probably
You're
will
fine.
be fine.
Yeah. They might as well have just not mentioned how cold it was on the dark side at all.
Because all that did was serve to make me go, okay, well that's a little bit. We did cover it, like, because clearly somebody asked that question, because otherwise they would not be wearing jackets in that scene. They literally just decided, like, oh, we'll put a jacket on him and it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, it makes for a crazy action set piece. So
I do
there's
kind of like the way that it plays out, right? It's just, if you didn't give me the exact, like, all you had to do was tell me, if you're in the sun, you'll get burned alive. We have to stay in the shade, right? The shade is the only cool side. You didn't.
Yep.
If you had not told me, oh yeah, by the way, it's negative 300 degrees on the other side, then I wouldn't have a problem. I would have just been like, okay, fine, yeah, whatever, man. Like, giving the specific numbers is like trying to do the thing that Pitch Black does, and then deliberately ignoring it, right? Like, Pitch Black has a bunch of like bits where they're like struggling to suck extra oxygen out of those hoses that they're carrying around with them, because it's getting difficult for them to breathe in that thinner atmosphere. Granted, they forget about that the minute the lights go out, but it's fine, because at that point it's like, oh, we're at least acknowledging it in some believable kind of way, right?
Yes.
And it's not such a big change as to something that would like literally kill you. Like, either one of these, you're dead if you step outside in it. Like, that's the problem.
There is no safe space.
There is no actual safe way to do this.
Yeah.
Wind
But
River would have been a lot better with Vin Diesel in it. You know what? Fuck yeah, it would.
so, but he's in the prison, right? And there's different factions sort of like arguing over him. There's the bounty hunter, and there's the people who are running the prison, right? They're sort of like
They're the
fighting up.
Russians, the Slavs who run this prison.
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
honestly, they might be some of my favorite characters in the whole movie. Is like Anatoly,
Yeah.
the guy with the nose for trouble. Like he's the most fun part of the movie for me, really. It's like his
Yeah.
goofy ass.
So they have him like strung up by a rope in the middle of like this big open air prison thing, and they're negotiating how much they're gonna pay for his, pay for him, right? And then meanwhile, he's like, Riddick is coiling himself up in the rope, and I'm like, oh, he's doing that to climb up and escape. No, he's actually coiling up so he can let himself go and spin, 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 like he's in Cirque du Soleil until he like lands at the bottom of the rope, and that like
The momentum force
causes
is
it
enough to
break.
shatter the handcuffs that are keeping him
Yeah.
on the rope.
And then he lands on the ground and he does a cool badass superhero landing, and then he fights a bunch of
Yeah, and then he
guys.
beats up some guys who were trying to like come in and rape him, I guess. I don't know. Like
Just get him. They're here to get him, and he stops that.
Yeah.
And then he runs into Jack. And who?
No, not
Oh,
Jack. Her name's Kira now.
oh,
She's changed her name to Kira, and she's
transition. Yeah.
she's like it's been 5 years. She is now 17 years old, canonically speaking. And I know.
The actress does not.
The
That is
actress
for
the
sure.
actress absolutely is not. But she specifically has a line where she says, "Oh, you know what that does to a 12-year-old? 5 years ago, I was slaved out by some mercs. Do you know what that does to a 12-year-old, Riddick? And it's been 5 years, so we know that. So canonically, 17, and he is gonna be really creepy with her.
Yeah, and she is
really
played
creepy.
by the girl. Like I mostly remember her from like a couple episodes of Angel, and she's in like The Man in the High Castle. She was a total wet blanket in what little of that show I did watch. I've never really enjoyed her in anything, if I'm being honest. And
I
I've tried. I've seen her in a number of things.
I
Um,
have enjoyed at like as a teenager, I enjoyed her in this movie because she's doing Catwoman, basically.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's really the only reason. But it worked for me then. It worked for me then.
Nobody can rape Riddick. He's too cool. He's too strong.
Nobody are you so somebody once made a joke. I think it was the How Did This Get Made guys once made a joke that was like Fast and Furious as a franchise can be summed up by the phrase is my dick fucking you in the or is your dick fucking me in the ass or is my ass fucking you in the dick? And that's kind of Riddick's whole sort of philosophy here for like turning circumstances to his favor. Like
Mhm.
everything nothing bad in this like that ever happens in this movie is ever
His
out of
fault or
like his fault
mistake.
or his mistake. It's always to the contrary. It's like his plan. He wanted it to go this way every time. So it's like,
Yeah.
like of course, because if somebody did try to rape Riddick, it would just have been what he
He
I knew
wanted
you
to
were gonna do.
happen.
I knew you were gonna do that all along.
Wait. You tried to rape me, but joke's on you. It was consensual. Nobody rapes the Riddick.
Oh God.
And so yeah, he gets weird with Jack, who is now Kira. And oh my God, perhaps the worst editing in the entire franchise, and I haven't even seen the third movie, is when he has her like pinned up against like a rusty metal like grate fence thing, and she like slips something out of her teeth to like cut him with like a little tooth or like a something, and then she kicks out the light, and then I wish we could share this on screen, but I don't think we can for copyright reasons. But it's literally the worst editing I've ever seen in my life. The editors are trying to convince the audience how she could have managed to get away and Riddick not know where she is. So what happens is she kicks out the light, which causes it to flash briefly, which I guess hurts his eyes. And then we like do flashes like we're trying to give the audience a seizure editing, and then through the power of magic bullshit she's just gone, like up in smoke.
Yeah.
um
This is a guy who, by the way, is like infamous for being able to see in the dark. That's his whole thing. That's his whole superpower, is that he can see in the dark. He got I guess maybe you could make the argument that he got flashbanged by the light.
yeah,
Maybe.
it's less, my problem is less that he got flashbanged and
More that she like
it's worth,
managed to weasel her way out of
she
it. Like,
managed
yeah.
to weasel out through the power of editing is my
Yes.
big problem, and that it's an assault on my senses to watch the movie.
Speaking of, real quick though, like just to go back and backtrack a little bit. Speaking of an assault on the senses, the invasion of the city at the big where the Necromongers come in, there are
Yeah.
so many flashing lights.
Yep.
It
It's
is
hard to
actually
watch.
very difficult to watch. It's kind
Yeah.
of like I don't even have epilepsy.
Not yet, you don't, but you
Yeah,
might by
watch
the
this
end of it.
movie a few more times. Maybe I will.
It's rough. It's too much. It's like they took the flashing lights at the end of like Alien and Aliens, where like all the emergency lights are going off, but they like cranked it up. I think they're trying to justify it as lightning, but it's so frequent in that sequence that you're talking about that
It's either
it's like a
lightning or
strobe
it's
light.
like, yeah, it's really I think they're,
It's
I don't know
bad.
what they're trying to do with that. Some quantum ranger power is also like, now I'm thinking of the Venture Brothers bit where Brock breaks a henchman's hand during a cavity search. That would have made this movie 10 out of 10 instantly.
That's really funny. That's exactly something
that
he
that
would
would
do.
that is 100%, that would be totally would work in this movie.
Yeah. She didn't escape. He let her go. All part of the plan. Honestly, though, this is one of the few moments where like he gets bested briefly. Briefly, it's one
Yeah.
of the only ones that happens, and because he essentially gets flashbanged, and through the power of editing, she disappears. Um, Also, we need to talk. Okay, Pitch Black, for all its faults, is a bit more consistent with when he needs to wear the goggles and when he doesn't. It's not perfect. It's a little messy. There's some times in Pitch Black where you're like, I feel like it's fairly bright in here. Why doesn't he have his goggles on? And sometimes, they're a little loosey goosey with it, but they're trying. They're trying to remember that that's a thing with his character. In this movie, there are long sequences in both directions where it's pretty bright in there. Everyone can see pretty well, but he doesn't have his goggles on. Remember, he has eyesight that is
They
he's
show
wearing
you
night
his
vision
eyesight
goggles.
every now and then. Yeah.
He should you need to treat it like he's wearing night vision goggles whenever he doesn't have the goggles on, right?
Yeah.
And they don't do that. There are like perfectly well lit scenes where he's just not wearing his goggles and his vision doesn't actually look all that bright. And then she like he gets flashbanged by this light getting really bright. It's really not that bright compared to everything else around it, you know? So I don't know. They don't care at all in this movie. It's like whenever we think it would look better, that's what he has.
Yeah. Oh, they don't give a fuck. And
They don't give a fuck.
and
Nope.
when it matters, like for the plot, right? Like
Yeah.
obviously, right? So when they release what they're gonna do, the prisoners or the guards are going to release these like rage space jaguars that when you hit them and when they get angry, they turn red, right?
Yeah,
Into
'cause
the
that's how you
prison.
know they're mad.
Yeah. Of
'Cause
course.
red
Well,
is
yeah.
the mad color.
Yeah. Well, exactly. And they're going to release that into the prison to just like kind of randomly eat some prisoners. That's basically like they're just going to go ahead and do that, right?
Mhm.
Makes sense. This is evil space prison. It's literally hell. So, fine. The Jaguars happen to have the exact same eyes that Riddick does. So he like He just
He
befriends
bonds
them.
with
He
them.
bonds with them.
Yeah, he's an animal whisperer as well. That's just one of
Yeah,
his powers.
one of his many. Like he knows predators. You know,
He's just built different.
he knows predators, as evidenced by how handsy he got with the 17-year-old just about 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I was thinking about? I feel like the whole ethos of this movie is a bit like Vin Diesel saw David Lynch's Dune and heard "Fear is the mind killer" and went, "Ha!" and I'm the fear killer. That's the general spirit and ethos of this movie.
Oh my god. Uh no, that I mean like that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's
I was taking a bite of food when you said that and I kind of choked.
yeah, he's too cool to be afraid in any real meaningful way. I'm glad you agree. Then there's a fun moment where not Zoe Saldana is
Tandy
on a
Newton.
ship.
Tandy Newton. The
Yes,
combination, like if you mixed Eartha Kitt and Zoe Saldana in a vat, and
Mhm.
this is what you would get.
Yeah, I I was trying to remember like because I know it's not her, but she just reminds me a lot of her. And then I was reminded. Speaking of like great actors in these like dumb, ridiculous action movies, um, obviously Judi Dench is in this, but I was reminded of Anthony Hopkins' like brief cameo in Mission Impossible 2,
Oh yeah.
which Tandy Newton is also in, where like Anthony Hopkins shows up to like make a couple sexist jokes and then just fuck off out of the movie. It's great. It's not a good movie, Mission Impossible 2, but I really enjoy Anthony Hopkins in it. I'm glad he's in it. You almost forget you're watching a bad movie when he shows up. It's nice. Anyway, so Tandy Newton, is that
Yeah,
her name?
yeah, pretty sure that's how you say it. Dude,
She
I love her in this movie. I think she's so fun, especially like the way that she's just chewing scenery by the end of it. Like
yeah.
she's fucking feeling it,
Yeah,
man.
she's having fun. Man, she knows what kind of movie this is, and she's going for it. I appreciate that. Good for her. So she's with Judi Dench, and she's like trying to understand what her plan is and like what she wants. And so she threatens her. They're like floating above the city, and he's like, "So you're an air elemental? Can you fly?" And she opens up like a giant hatch in the bottom of the ship, and like threatens to like push her out into it.
Grabs a
But Judi
Klingon
Dench,
sword and threatens her with it, and Judi Dench
yeah,
just walks over it and goes, "No, but we glide quite nicely." And also, I would have just told you the information you wanted immediately if you had just asked
if you
me.
asked. That is one of my favorite moments in the movie because it's like it seems so sincere on her behalf. You know, she's just like, by the way, you don't have to threaten me. I would have just told you.
Yeah.
Like, which is really funny. Yeah. Yeah, literally Anthony Hopkins in Mission Impossible 2 shows up to have a brief conversation with Tom Cruise, make a couple sexist jokes. Because he's talking about Tandy Newton's character and like talking about how she needs to be, for the sake of this mission, needs to be like really deceptive and deceitful and manipulative. And he says like, "Oh, it shouldn't be a problem. She's been training for that her whole life. She is a woman after all." Like, and then he just leaves the movie, and you're like, "Okay,
Ooh,
thanks, Tony."
Jesus.
It's great.
That's
Uh,
amazing.
yeah, it's pretty
Holy
funny.
shit. Yeah, yeah. So
Anyway,
anyway, they basically is this where she learns, right? Like she basically just learns that Riddick's a Fury, and we don't get any new information about
I
any of
don't
this.
remember any new information there, but I don't.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
I do
fuzzy on
remember
the
that
details.
scene. But then we this the Macbeth plot is legitimately kind of interesting to me, right? Like it's
Yeah,
probably just because I like Macbeth, but I also like the idea.
I too love Macbeth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
it's nice. It's a nice dynamic for this movie.
I like bringing that in as the B plot,
Hmm.
behind all of the action hero ridiculousness. But and I kind of wish they would have done more with her, and Vako actually doing anything. Like they have
Yeah,
a couple of scenes where they get to be kind of, glowering villains and not much
To
else.
do with it, yeah.
Yeah. Um,
As Jim Carrey says in Bruce Almighty, all that horsepower and no room to gallop.
yeah, pretty much.
What a shame.
Yeah. Um, so the prison guards are upset about basically Riddick is getting ready to hatch a plan. He's like, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna be the first person ever to bust out of this prison, because I'm just that fucking cool, bro. And we even have a line where one of the other prisoners says something along the lines of like, nobody busts out of here, nobody. And then Kira shows up and says, well, he's not nobody. He's Dick
it's so,
Riddick.
it's it's so stupid because if nobody busts out of here, then he is nobody, right?
Yeah.
Like, what? But that wouldn't work. They have
No,
like
because that would make it that like, because if you said nobody busts out of here and so you walked up and said, well, he's nobody, you would hear, what? what? What the fuck did you just say?
it's real like a kid named Finger type stuff. Yeah, so sorry, in the chat, people posting the exact quote he says in the movie that I will read because it's quite funny. It's what to go to bed with a man and to lie to him? She's a woman. She's got all the training she needs. That's the line.
Damn. Get him, Tony.
And then he leaves the movie. It's great. It's great. Always leave him wanting more. Anyway, so well, he's not nobody, and then he starts to break out. Oh, and they loose the leopard cheetah stone Pokemon things, and he's the only one who isn't killed by them or isn't endangered by them because he can talk to them. He's got animal whisperer powers because he's just that cool.
He put a couple levels in Druid. Yeah,
he literally just does like a cool guy stare down.
Yeah, well, yeah, this is yeah.
He doesn't.
It's so
like,
predictable. Like
it's
so predictable that like because every situation is going to result in like some ridiculous thing that we're like the teacup that happens like right after that, right?
Yeah.
Because there are some thugs, some thuggish guards who have decided they want to get it on with Kira, and he shows up drinking tea out of a cup. Where did this prisoner get tea in a tin cup in a prison like this? I have no idea. Doesn't matter. He threatens to kill the guy with his teacup, and wouldn't you know it, like he rolls a nat 20 and does exactly what he wanted to do. And then like it's kind of a boomer bait setup, like of badassery. It really is. Where it's like really he doesn't like bullies, so he kills bullies in a way that's like makes him look super tough and cool, and it's just and it's like I'll kill you with my teacup, and then like the line that they like because everybody has to say something that they think sounds so fucking cool in the situation. She goes, "Death by teacup." Wow, why didn't I think of that? Like.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
What are we doing,
it's so funny. Like the look he gives the cheetah when he's like bonding with it isn't like a like he tries to like calm it down. He's not being like, look, I'm peaceful. Look, we're on the same side. He's not giving that energy. He's just giving it a cool guy smolder really hard. And then the cheetah just respects him. It's really funny. He's got his brow furrowed. He's just staring. He's staring really hard at it. And that's how he gets it to do its will.
Yeah, it's almost like a Crocodile Dundee kind of thing. But I would honestly wish that he would do some weird shit like Crocodile Dundee and just bust that out. If Vin Diesel was a little funnier, he probably would have done that. Now that I think about it.
Also, this movie tries to have it both ways with the being weird towards like one of the only women in the movie. Because there's a bunch of guys that are like about to rape her essentially, and then he comes in to stop them. Like, hey, stay away from her. She said no. He's like,
no means no. Consent is king.
But then also earlier when he was like manhandling her, he like lifted her up by putting his knee between her legs. and like he's just
Yeah.
been kind of weird like that. So it's like having
Putting
it
his knee between
both
her legs
ways.
and like pressing his whole body up against her as she's like basically against the cage of this
Yeah,
prison cell. It's like
he
you are just as like weirdly sexual.
like let's not pretend you're innocent here. All
Yeah.
right, he comes in to be like, hey, the lady said
You
no.
smell a lot of women to be making like to be making these
Yeah,
distinctions here, dude. You do a lot of Biden hair sniffing.
he just comes in like, come on guys, she said no, why don't you heck off. They're like, yo, yeah, why don't you make us? And he's like, I will.
I will.
Maybe I will.
Maybe I will. Maybe I'll do that with this teacup.
And then he does, yeah. And then he's like, and then she's like, why didn't I think of that? Oh, the dialogue is so funny.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and this is where because this is going to come back later, Hugh. This is when they drop the like, I didn't come to play who's the better killer, and she says, but it's my favorite game.
Haven't you heard? Like these honestly though, like these two deserve each other at this
They
point.
really,
Like
they really do.
killing her at the end of this movie is maybe the biggest mistake for the franchise because like I
Honestly,
really like honestly I think
yeah,
that this could be a lot like if it was just two people is like doing because they kind of do have some chemistry, this actress and Vin Diesel,
yeah, as much as you can
and yeah
in a
in
movie
a
like
movie
this,
like
yeah,
this, if you had kept that and it was just essentially a dick measuring contest for the rest of the franchise, like it just move like that would have been incredible. Like
yeah,
there would have been a lot of fun to be had with this. But so he basically tells her like, are you with me, Kira? Getting out of here today. We're gonna bust out. Now, in the meantime, the prison guards are upset because the Necromongers are on their way, and they're like, "Excuse, like why would you do this?" Like they know apparently that like no matter what happens, the Necromongers are gonna come in and I guess kill everybody. Like they're gonna nuke them from orbit, even though they're buried underground, and they're fighting in a basement.
yeah.
Wait a minute. They like yeah, they kind of have the defensive position, but either way, they're scared shitless and they want to get out.
Yeah, I mean
So,
they're vastly outnumbered and overpowered. They have a nice like defensive position stronghold here because they have those like crazy blast-proof doors on the outside of the prison because they need it because it's a real scorcher out there.
yeah,
So
it's a hot
that's
one.
something. It's a hot one,
It's a hot one.
like
It's telling me
7
it's a hot.
inches from the midday sun.
It,
You ever been in a storm, Wally? Not a thunderstorm, but a storm of fists. Anyway. So
but
then
okay, but
Carl
like, but here's the
Urban
thing,
and
right?
the
Is
other
like they
guy.
may be vastly outnumbered, but they do have a strong defensive position, and like their key to victory really is like all they have to do is just hold out long enough for the sun to come up because they can't be on the surface when the sun is up. Like they can't. It,
Yeah.
like yeah. Either way, they're scared shitless, and they have to get out. So they get in a big fight, and the guards run away, and they seal the exit. There's a tunnel that goes to a docking bay. Speaking of docking, to the docking bay, and so they climb up to the guard tower, and Riddick gets to deliver his line. He's like, "There was a firefight, this all there was a firefight, and they went through here and they sealed it behind them because that tunnel goes straight to the ship's hangar." And the guy's like, "How do you know that's how it went down?" He goes, "Because that was what my plan was gonna be." It's like, oh yeah, because you're perfect and you've planned it all out in your head before. Well, of course, why would
Everything you
anybody?
assume is automatically correct. Yes.
Yes, obviously it was perfect. So, of course, they have to hatch
Oh,
a
but
new plan.
the bounty hunter, what do they do with him?
Oh, they lock him in a cage next to two of the jaguars and leave him for dead.
They sure showed him.
And he screams a little Riddick as they hatch
I
their
like
scheme
this.
to run across the surface.
When you described a lot of the setups and payoffs in this movie as boomer bait, that really resonated with me. I feel like there's a lot of that
It's a
in here.
lot of
Like,
it.
oh, he showed them. Oh, they didn't know who they were messing with.
Yeah, that's yeah.
They shouldn't have messed with Riddick. He's the coolest.
So they decide like, okay, well, what's the only way that we can do this otherwise, right? We can't make it through the hangar. They locked the door. We have to run across the surface, stay ahead of the sun. If as long as we stay in that point where everything is minus 300, we should be fine, right, guys? Right? Slap on a trench. So, and that's exactly what they do. They slap on some trench coats and they start
Go for a
running.
little run.
And there are some snap zooms.
Who doesn't love a good
Who
snap
doesn't love
zoom?
a good couple of snap? They kind of overuse it because they do it multiple times to show them running across the surface of the planet. But the guard with the nose for trouble just kind of gets an idea that, like, I think they're running across the surface. There's no real evidence provided for this. It's not like he hears echoes of the footsteps on the roof or anything like that. He just kind of gets an inkling that, guys, I think they're running. I think they're trying to outrun us.
Yeah,
On the
let's call it
surface of the
women's
planet.
intuition.
Yeah, it's like it's fun. It's kind of fun. He's just got like the ultimate perception check, right? So as they do this, they have to climb these like sulfur-caked, cliffs, and the Necromongers are waiting for them at the ship's docking bay. They make it, of course, because Vin coats himself in water and then swings down like Indiana Jones to rescue Kira from a cavern, and the water just sort of steams off of him, and he's completely unharmed.
Okay, sorry. I need to stop for a second because someone asked, where is it? Is 700 degrees even hot enough to instantly incinerate someone to ash? The answer is no. After a cursory Google search, it appears that human bones turn to ash around 1400 to 1800 degrees.
Oh my god, why not just say that then?
I don't know. 700 degrees, that's pretty hot, and bad things will happen to you for sure, but it won't quite be the heat ray it is in this movie, I don't think.
Well, yeah, but yeah, they should have just not said temperature. They should have just said like, it's so hot it will turn your bones to ash. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
It's so hot on the day side it will turn your bones to ash. On the night side,
it's so hot.
Like,
let me tell you what, you're not gonna like it.
Yeah. Oh, wait. That's a good point. Jegson Voorhees like he coats himself with water as if that's gonna do anything, as if the water wouldn't just instantly start boiling.
No, it keeps them cool because water keeps you cool.
Yeah, exactly. Water keeps you cool. So he makes it out. They make it to the hangar. But oh no, the Necromongers are there, and they've beat up and killed the guards. So now we've got to beat up and kill the Necromongers to get to the ship. And so we're gonna do a cool action sequence, but we're gonna edit it in a really weird way, and we're also gonna cut out all the kinetic sound from the scene, so nothing that's happening is making any noise.
Yeah, I thought that was odd.
It's a weird choice, right? Like why wouldn't
Yeah.
you? Why would you not? Like, you're playing the music, but it's just dead silent otherwise. Like they're doing motions, they're hitting people.
Sometimes, with slow motion, you can kind of justify that. Like if it's slow enough, you don't expect to hear all the kinetic sounds you're talking about. But
it's not slow motion. It's just normal. It just looks
a lot
like
of this,
a normal.
a lot of this isn't in slow motion. Yes, exactly. It's regular speed, but there's no sound. Maybe they're just a little lazy in the sound mix. Foley guys were like, do we need to do this whole fight scene? Oh god, and one of them, there's one shot in particular where it's like unbelievable shaky cam. It's really funny. Oh, the editing. It's like a really bad music video from the time period. It's very funny.
It really, yeah.
Anyway.
This is like the ultimate throwback to Pitch Black.
Yeah, I guess. I guess. But anyway, so I think we skipped over probably the most insane part of that, like escaping the giant sun sequence, where like they're trapped in like a canyon, like a cliff, and like they're hiding behind these little pillars. Yeah, and it's like, oh well, we're trapped here, we're fucked. What are we going to do? How are we going to get out of this situation? Because if you go out even for a second, it's going to be too hot. Well, what happens is Vin Diesel goes out and he's fine,
Well, because he covers himself with water. Duh.
and he swings around, and he saves them all, so it's fine. And then like all they do is show him like a little steamy.
Yeah, he's like
It's
literally
fine.
rising.
Yeah. Anyway, so then they have that big fight, and they cut out all the sound, and it's very strange,
Very
and
strange and
odd.
jarring. And whoa, Riddick loses.
What?
Oh my god.
Is he
That
gonna
ca-
die? I hope he doesn't die. He's the coolest.
Well, everybody else kind of does, and Kira gets up and goes to join the Necromongers because they don't see her, even as she's hiding behind a rock, but like right in his peripheral line of vision. I love it when movies do that. But she goes to join the She goes to get into the Necromonger ship, and the other Fury and the priest of the Necromongers, who is like who let Riddick go in the ship, and he was kind of
Hmm.
asked Vaco some questions about like, don't you ever think like maybe we're the baddies? And Vaco rightly took that for are you fucking testing me? Like get the fuck out of here. I'm very loyal. And he was just like, okay, wow, shit. All right, well, I guess I see I played my hand wrong. Um, but he saves him and then instantly kills himself. So Riddick is alive. Don't you worry, he made it out. And like I can't remember, did he lose the fight because somebody cheated? Like is some underhanded tactic shown
Let me go back.
for why he is incapacitated in this fight?
That's
Because
a good question. Okay, so he's fighting them. He's like handily beating a lot of these guys. He's doing great. Then comes a random guy. He kicks the dagger away, and then kicks that guy away. He's punching people left and right. He's doing great. No one's even coming close to hurting him because he's the coolest. Remember, he like he like does he does some like cool wrestling moves.
oh yeah.
He does like a pile driver on one guy. He slashes the guy's throat. He's doing great. He's beating the guy that the girl is fighting for her because he's just the greatest. I'm waiting for the mistake. Oh, okay. What happens is when he's not looking, Carl Urban shoots him from afar with one of those guns that just pushes you.
Oh yeah.
One of those like force push
One of
guns.
those force push guns. Now, see, this movie was rated PG-13, so they didn't
Oh,
show those guns doing
yeah.
anything in particular. But in Riddick, in the one scene that the Necromongers actually have anything to do with, that gun blows somebody's torso clean off.
It blows their shit smooth off.
Blows
Yeah.
their shit smooth off. So Riddick tanks that shot because he's no normal guy. But
What happens is he gets flung through the air and lands hard on the ground, and then he's like briefly incapacitated because the movie like he got hit in the off switch essentially.
Gotcha.
So
Right,
it wasn't.
Okay, so it wasn't really like a clear match.
It wasn't a cheating or a cheap shot really, but it was like a unexpected thing from afar. So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So not quite. Yeah, not quite at the level that it will be once we get further on.
Yes.
Yeah. But okay, cool. So
Honestly, this is probably the one. If I had to pick just like one flaw with this movie, which is otherwise perfect, it would be that he loses this fight.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like, it doesn't. Why does it matter that he loses?
I mean,
this fight?
he's the hero. Why is he losing fights?
Really, if
You know what he
anything-
should have had is he had like something in his contract that says I can't lose fights ever.
That
That would have
be
prevented
smart.
a mistake like this for like future action movies he's in. That way, you always know he's the hero because no one wants to see the hero lose.
Exactly. Nobody ever wants to see the hero,
Ever.
unless, of course, the villain cheats or does some kind of underhanded thing to him. Because then we know,
Yeah, because that's not fair.
that he doesn't play by fair rules. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not. It's just totally not fair.
Oh, Mordaka does point out it is a little unfair that he brought a knife or a gun to a knife fight. That is pretty scummy.
A little underhanded.
Little
I guess you
underhanded.
could say. No, because Riddick is using the gun to do similar things earlier in the fight.
Okay, so anyway, he The other Furion saves him, and then instantly game ends himself for no reason.
For no reason. He does the fist up in the
Yeah,
air.
he does the
to be
power
like,
fist up into the air to be like,
For
Furions!
Furia!
For Furia!
I'm killing myself.
For
Furia!
Riddick! For Dick
Not
Riddick!
for me! Not for me!
Not for me!
He should have shouted that while he did it.
He
That would have
should've.
been like a full circle
Oh,
moment.
that would have been amazing. But anyway, Riddick gets to go right back, and he sneaks on to... Oh, he sneaks on to the Necromonger ship. But before he, because he goes back to Helion... Oh, wait, no, because the Furion guy... Sorry, we have to talk about the fact that the Lord Commander, or the Lord Marshal, had the priest ready to deliver a message in case Vako failed to kill him. And he says, he offers you a deal. Just leave. Just go wherever the fuck you want to go. I'll leave you alone. You're all good, right? If Vako didn't kill you. And he says, well, the Necromonger in me hopes you won't go back, but the Furion in me hopes you won't listen, right? And it's like, well, obviously he was always going to go back because the guy kidnapped his 17-year-old hottie. So he's gonna... there's only room on this island for one Epstein, okay? And it's gonna be Riddick. So he goes back, and as he goes back to Helion Prime, because they haven't left yet, they haven't nuked it from orbit yet for some reason, not sure why. So as he's sneaking on to the Necromonger spaceship, he makes sure to give Tandy Newton a little pat on the ass as he walks by to alert her to his presence, so that she...
Is that what happened?
That's what happens. Go and check it out. Go and check it out.
Oh, I missed the butt tapping.
Yeah,
I thought she just sensed him somehow because she's observant.
No, watch his arm. Watch his arm and where...
Okay, hold on. Where is she? Okay, there she is. Comes by. And her eyes go wide. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, that is what happened.
He gives her ass a little squeeze as he walks by, and she's like, "Excuse me?" and like starts looking around for him. We do get a kind of a cool shot where he's like turned around in the Necromonger armor and his eyes are shining through. Pretty fucking cool.
There's some cool imagery in this movie for sure.
This whole movie is pretty fucking cool.
He brushes up against her, and I think the ass tapping is implied. I think you're right.
Real quick, Jegson, yes, she is canonically 17 years old in this movie. She was 12.
So the actress playing her is obviously not. So you wouldn't assume it.
But she was 12 years old at the end of Pitch Black. It has been 5 years since Pitch Black. And yeah,
there you have it.
There you have it. Yeah.
Just adds a little layer to it.
Yeah, a little.
Yeah. So
Paul Walker met his 16-year-old girlfriend at 33. Like, what's the big deal?
Yeah, who among us, right? And so, he brushes up against her to be like, "Hey, I'm here, by the way." And she's like, "Who did that?" And she goes chasing after him, and then we get that shot of like his glowy wolf eyes like poking out of his helmet, which is a pretty cool shot. There's some pretty cool stuff in this movie. Just visually speaking, it's got a style to it. There are a lot of Dutch angles and stuff like that. I always like a good Dutch angle. I think they're underrated. This movie definitely has a unique.
Have you heard of a show called
style.
John Adams?
Oh, yeah. They don't really work in John Adams, I'm afraid. They're better in stuff like this and Avengers 2012. I don't like the Dutch angles in John Adams. There's so many of them too.
The whole thing is Dutch angles basically until they get to Europe. It's kind of crazy.
Until they get to Europe, and he even goes to like the Netherlands, but they don't do it there.
Yeah.
What's that about? Anyway, it'd be funny if you had something like that, some sort of globe-trotting thing, and then they go to the Netherlands, and then every shot in the
Netherlands is a Dutch angle. Oh,
yeah,
man, if we ever make a James Bond movie, we're gonna do that.
All right,
so
funny.
Bro.
You heard it here first. Anyway, where were we? Okay, so she goes to alert Carl Urban of Riddick's presence. He's here. He's in the castle, and so if we time this right, we can make it so he's like a distraction essentially, and then you can kill the Lord Marshal. That way you become the new Lord Marshal because I'm Lady Macbeth. And he's like, that's a great plan. Let's do that. And so that's their plan,
Yeah.
their little scheme.
Riddick's plan is such that it is like he attempts like what does he attempts to ambush him and it doesn't work, and so it's just single combat. He might as well have just walked in and challenged him to single combat at the point, he gets his ass kicked bad. Like,
yeah, because he's got like sort of quick teleportation powers essentially, and so he's
but
he's a go ahead.
then he starts gaining the advantage. He actually because he's a calculating, cool, super badass. So he gets beat a little bit, but the only reason he's letting himself get beat up like that is to
So
learn.
he can learn.
He can learn. I can learn your fight pattern.
when you talk about all these decisions like that, like you're Vin Diesel in the writing room explaining it, like no, see, he doesn't actually. He's getting it. It's going to look like he's getting beat, but actually, he's just learning his fight patterns, and everyone goes, "Oh wow,
oh yeah,
whoa,
that's a good idea.
Whoa. That's a good idea. That's pretty cool."
This is why you're the best, Vin. This is why. Write that down. Write that down. $125 million to Vin. Ah, God, yeah. So he's
learning his
the
fight
pattern, and he starts gaining some of the advantage, but he's still kind of like a little bit behind. It's just not working very well. Until it does. It starts working.
Well, there's the part where he grabs his head to like pull his soul out of him, and he like pulls his face off his face, and Vin Diesel's got a really funny like grimace. The grimace. Hold on. I need to show it because it's really funny. We're gonna show it on
He goes
screen.
to grab his soul, and of course, because Furians are so defiant and just built different, it doesn't work, and Riddick gains the upper hand. So
of course,
the Lord Marshal.
Pretty funny. Yeah, but it's not working. He can't pull his face off of his face. He's just too stubborn. He's just too built different. Oh, and then he gets the upper hand and he punches the Lord Marshal and he goes flying across the room because he's the coolest. He's unfazed too. He's too badass to even care. And so the Lord Marshal jumps off of a giant sort of like Art Deco statue to grab a giant spear from it. And he's flinging the spear around. He's going crazy. He's trying to get Riddick, but he just can't because Riddick's too quick.
Oh, right. And then Kira, out of TKO, RKO out of nowhere. Kira comes in, boom, gets him in the back with a spear. And then just kind of stands there for a little bit, She's just... I forgot about that. We forgot to talk about the fact that the Lord Marshal tries to bribe Vin by saying, like, your girl's already with us, so you might as well be too.
Yeah.
And he just keeps asking things like, are you with me, Kira? Like, multiple times. Where it's like, you're not... What answer are you expecting to get? She's like, it hurts at first, but then the pain stops, just like they say they would. Are you with me, Kira? They're superpowered necromancers, Vin. Riddick. They're fucking cool as shit. They're gonna take over the world and go to Underverse. And he's like, are you with me, Kira? Like,
you know what it reminds me of?
It reminds to any new information that is presented. It's just like, I'm gonna say it 3 times.
Do you remember the David Duchovny scene in Zoolander, hand model?
Yes, but like, what about male models?
He's like, but why male models? And he explains, and then he goes, but why male models? It's like that. So the Lord Marshal has him pinned down with this spear, but there's a little dagger off to the side, and like he's choking out Riddick. He's choking out Dick Riddick, but Dick Riddick is like, oh, I'm gonna grab that dagger. But before he does, that's when Kira comes in to save him. And what I quite like about this as a choice is that they were very careful to show that, like, oh, Riddick is like moments away from saving himself. so he isn't really ultimately saved by a girl.
Yeah,
He would have been
he
fine.
would have been fine, but
He would just to be clear, he didn't need her help, but it is nice to have it, right?
yeah.
You know?
Well, because they're playing who's the better killer.
Yes. Yeah, it's obviously
I
him.
did take a little bit of issue with the movie here, though. When he's being choked out, they show a shot from his perspective. He does not have his goggles on, and they show a shot from his perspective of his vision fading, and it is not in the night vision that he is supposed to see.
That was the goof. That's an error.
Yeah.
But write that on IMDb in the goof section, whatever they call that.
0 out of 10. You fucked up. You had one job.
Oh yeah, they do call it the goofs section for Chronicles of Riddick. That's so funny. I bet you if I searched through this, I would find that. Like they forgot to put that in night vision.
In there. Yeah, they forgot to put that in night vision. So she stabs him in the back, and then just kind of stands there a little bit, for the drama shot. Then she just gets fucking yeeted into a spiky statue, and oh no, she's dead.
Very unwise to kill her, I think, if you're going to continue this franchise, which obviously they are.
Yeah.
Killing her is a little bit stupid, I would say.
I don't like that decision. And
yeah.
I mean, I think that's one of the real problems with the third movie, right? Is like by doing that, you kind of end wherever this part of the story can go, right? Like the opening of the third one with him with the Necromongers is him just like pouring and drinking his misery away, essentially, but he's not mentioning her. So he's just saying like, damn, the civilized life of sleeping with 4 baddies at once and pounding back bottles of liquor, that really messed me up and took the edge off of me. I kind of need to get
very
back
James
to
Bond coded in that way, where
he doesn't mention his dead 17-year-old girlfriend at all.
No, he doesn't.
And
he's
it's like
cool for that.
But like because the next movie, the third movie, is 2 hours of just fucking around on a different planet with no mention of Necromongers. That like they might as well not even be in the movie, except to basically say we really don't know where to go with this.
Yeah,
like we really didn't think this was gonna happen. Like
no, they did not.
Yeah.
So okay, so Kira comes in and prevents. He was going to be fine, just to be clear, but she came in to help him out by stabbing the Lord Marshal in the back, and that was pretty cool of her. But then she gets yeeted. And that makes Riddick pretty upset because he liked her, not a lot ultimately, but he liked her enough to be mad about it.
It's weird because they're doing they're doing a romance-ish, but also she like. What is this? Like a surrogate father-daughter thing? I don't know.
Let's hope it's not the father-daughter thing.
It's really hard to make sense of what exactly they were going for between these two characters. Because what was she to him in the first one? She was a kind of annoying kid who idolized him, right? And like
that
saw him as a role model. And then in this one, she's sort of like a lover / rival / protege. It's a very weird thing, and maybe that's why they killed her, because they were like, I don't this feels like I don't know about this one, guys. Maybe we just like write her out. Does a woman die in every Riddick finale? No woman dies in the third one. He gets the girl in the third one. He's banging Starbuck from Battlestar Galactica by the end of the third one.
You know what? Good for him. And so now the Lord Marshal is in one part of the room. He pulls the spear out of his back. Meanwhile, Carl Urban grabs a giant ceremonial executioner's axe thing, and he comes over, and it's like, great, thank you.
Thanks, Vaco. Help me kill him.
Vaco, that's his name. Thank you very much for grabbing a weapon. Now you will help me kill him. Wait, Vaco, what are you doing? You're coming towards me. Oh my gosh, you're trying to kill me. Oh no. And so he's about to, bring the axe down onto him, and
The
um,
spirit, the soul spirit thing runs out and like kind
yes,
of looks up. And so here's the thing, right? Is like this the power that the Lord Commander has. I like how it looks in theory, right? The
yeah,
idea. But the problem really is though, like exactly this. Like if you really think about it, this is not an advantage in a fight. Like be
um,
telegraphing where exactly where you're going to be like this.
it's okay. So let's just describe exactly how it plays out, right? So Earl Urban gonna bring down the axe, and he's like, "Oh no, I better get out of here." And so like his spirit starts to move ahead of him,
Oh,
gets
oh,
about like 15 feet away, and then kind of maxes out.
yeah.
Um, and then we're really loosey goosey on time because as he's bringing the axe down, then eventually, so like, yeah, he just like if he's that fast, why didn't he just leave? Like this happened. I think what we're meant to believe is that Riddick just sort of predicted where he would go.
Well, yeah, yes, but also like
Because otherwise, it doesn't make any
is it
sense.
predicting or is it just like watching for where that trail is going to end?
Because okay, this all it's
Because like it's
it is
yeah,
just watching. Like I'm just trying to make it make more sense, but otherwise, he just telegraphed where he's gonna go just in time for Riddick to bring down the knife and stab him.
yeah, it's
But also the thing about his powers is that like they were better before because he wasn't telegraphing where he was going. He was just moving very fast.
yeah,
You know, it's almost like the opposite. Like where you thought he was is now the ghost, and actually he's over here. In this, it's like where you thought he was is still there, but his ghost is telling you where he's going,
yeah,
which
yeah,
is the opposite of useful, if anything.
yeah. It's kind of like it's almost like it's perfectly engineered to end in a death exactly like this.
Yes,
Is
that is
kind of like
almost exactly what it's like.
it's yeah. And as Vaco is raising the axe, right, to kill him, Dame Vaco turns away, turns her back on it and just kind of goes, she's like, flawless, right? Like totally gloating in it and everything.
Should have waited maybe until
And then as it happens, like Riddick just brings the knife, the Necromonger knife from the beginning that he had, right? Brings it down into the Lord Marshal's head and breaks it off and knees him in the fucking nose. And it's fucking great. It's fucking cool, dude.
yeah, it's fun,
It's cool.
satisfying.
And she
And
turns
she,
around and gives the most dramatic no like since Vader
yeah,
and
yeah,
at
yeah.
the end of Revenge of the Sith.
And we do a push in on Judy Dench, and we like turn into a Dutch angle as we're pushing in on her face, and she's just smiling like, yes, yes, that's what I was hoping would happen. It's really funny, actually.
It's pretty it's pretty
Ah,
funny, man. And so he does it and like he's grief stricken. He's killed the Lord Marshal, but he's grief stricken because of Kira. And he picks her up. She says, "I was always with you," and then she dies. And so he puts his hand over his eyes because he doesn't want the cool guys don't let the world see them cry. So he stumbles back to sit and have a bit of a sigh, and a think. And wouldn't you know it, he just kind of stumbled accidentally backward onto the throne. And now they're all bowing to him because if you kill the Lord Marshal, you become the Lord Marshal. You keep what you kill, as they say.
and the look on his face is really funny, like when he realizes what just happened. Uh, like he's just so like, what? Get what? I'm the king now. What?
Yeah, and the only thing that I really remember from the director's cut, because I made you watch the theatrical one because it is, from what I recall, much more coherent. Like the director's cut is kind of a mess. More so.
I believe it. I think adding any more to this movie
Is
could not
could be
possibly
it
make
could
it
not
better.
possibly go well. Yeah, but they changed the ending a little bit, where instead of like the ending of the movie, instead of it being Vaco saying like keep what you kill as they all bow, and Judi Dench saying, now what would be the odds of that, and then him stopping the annihilation of the planet, it just goes to a Dutch angle of Riddick saying you keep what you kill and cuts to black.
Oh. That's funnier.
It is funnier. It is.
Okay, okay. If we're trying to have people take this movie seriously, the theatrical ending is better. But if we're just having a goof, I think him saying "you keep what you kill" and then cut to black, that's funnier for sure. That's
It's a really bizarre way to end it, especially if the next well, I guess actually it makes way more sense. The director's cut ending makes way more sense with the start of the third movie, where he's
yeah.
basically just completely abandoned any because it makes him out to be a lot more of a just out for myself kind of killer who might have had a
Yes.
connection to a girl at one point, right?
In this, it's like he, is Paul Atreides essentially, and now he's the Emperor or
Yeah.
something.
He's the
You know,
prophesized one who now leads the empire, and he has the chance to do right. It's like he's gone through and lost, and like he lost the love of his life, maybe.
the love of his life. Oh, that's such a funny way of describing his relationship with her in this movie.
It is a really
Oh yeah.
bizarre fucking movie. I mean, like, yeah, and then it just ends with Judi Dench saying, like, even I don't dare calculate the odds of, or like, a lone convict at the throne of the greatest empire the stars have ever seen. What could go wrong? Even I don't dare calculate the odds of that. And then it just ends, right? It's like,
Yeah.
okay, like, where are we going? What are we gonna do? And the answer is not this. Like, obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a shame because this is like where this movie leaves off is kind of interesting. It's strange and utterly bizarre, but kind of interesting. Like, okay,
Oh,
what if
Travion,
the
wait, hold on, real
coolest
quick, time out. Travion Washington reiterates, apparently, I'm sorry I didn't see this earlier. Vin Diesel has stated in interviews that he considers Chronicles of Riddick to be his most romantic film.
um well, I don't like that. I I don't
That
like to
makes
hear that.
me uncomfortable.
It's not even just the canonical age thing, because like
No,
17
it's
isn't like outrageous. It's more that like nothing romantic happens in the movie, really.
nothing really. It's just those like a couple of like brief steamy scenes between them, but it is also the way they built the character is
Yeah.
like as it was a teenager who idolized him as a role model who then became like this hot Catwoman chick to his Batman, right? Like that's
Yeah.
that's a that's a strange and is essentially what is the romance is it's just him but girl form, right? Like it's just like
Oh, you're onto something. I like where you're going with this.
yeah, like the romantic foil, it's not a foil. They don't fill in gaps with each other's, personalities or character. They're just the same person. She's just trying to be him.
Yeah.
And
And that's why he loves her
that's
so
why he
much.
loves her so much. Yeah, cuz she's young, impressionable and wants to be exactly like me. That's like yeah, that's it. That's and he ugh.
Every cool guy's dream. And so yeah, that's
Kyler said elaborate on that. No. That's
in some
good.
ways
That's
this was my
great.
most romantic film. Yeah, so that's the Chronicles of Riddick. An absolutely batshit insane sequel to a like somewhat mediocre to average like Alien ripoff, where they decided to turn it into this giant mythical thing that's also kind of like Revenge of the Sith. You know, it's there's so much happening here. We've introduced unbelievable amounts of lore that we don't really think about too much, but like give us the feeling of this giant space empire and prophecies and magic and elementals and magical creatures. And our hero is just a really cool guy in a black tank top. It's incredible. Like, what is there to say about it?
And this is
It's
the first of the modern Fast and Furious movies, essentially.
yeah.
Because like you
Well,
could just replace
it's like they
him.
condensed the entire arc of the Fast and the Furious franchise into two movies. You know, where the first one was actually just a kind of derivative, but not too terrible, like action thriller. You know,
Yeah,
because I mean that's exactly what you know. Because is it Point Break?
Yeah, it's a Point Break. It's a ripoff of Point Break. Yeah,
Yeah, and so and so that turns into this giant, like galactic
jet
level scope.
setting, galactic, yeah,
Yeah.
like world Avengers level threat, kind of thing.
Mhm.
It's yeah, it is. That is crazy. It is actually the exact trajectory of the entire Fast and Furious saga. It's just that Fast and Furious took 9 movies to get there,
Mhm.
and this was much more efficient in that way.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
didn't waste any time. Yeah, so in short, two perfect movies.
yeah, tens out
Uh,
of tens.
Tens out of
The
tens.
third one, not so much.
No,
The
like
third one's really
yeah, we
kind of a
you've
waste
talked
of
about
time,
it a
man. It's
bit. We've
so
discussed it
boring.
as we went. I did not feel like watching it. I just yeah, call me crazy. I just wasn't in the mood. These two were there's plenty enough to chew on here. You don't want to dilute it, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, 10 years did nothing for. So, okay, the budgets, right? Like ballooning from 23 million at with Pitch Black to 125 million for Chronicles of Riddick. It raked in 117 at the box office total. So
It's not
this was
good.
a massive flop. So by the time Riddick comes around, they're only handing him 38 million to make the third movie. Um It's been 10 years. Where is Riddick Furia? Where is the final chapter in the Riddick saga? I have to know. I have to know.
Can't wait to find out. What do you think we'll get first? Fast 11 or the Riddick 4?
Oh fuck, man! I probably Riddick. I think they've got him at some downtime for
Mhm.
Fast and Furious,
Yeah.
and I think Riddick is probably easier. Like who do you have to bring back for Riddick? Like
Well, I don't
maybe
know who you
Carl
have
Urban.
to bring back, but certainly if he wants to make the movie, he'll want to bring in. Well, okay, so how many famous people are in the third one? Because there are quite a few in this. Before you say, so like it is really interesting the massive budget and the massive gamble they took on the Chronicles of Riddick, putting in Judi Dench and like Thandie Newton and Carl Urban and all these other people. Keith David, obviously, he's in it briefly, but you know,
Yeah,
there's
it's a
there's
much
quite a few
bigger
like, oh,
cast.
it's
Yeah.
that guy people in this movie. How many famous people are in the third one?
Carl Urban is in the third one, briefly.
Okay.
He's in one scene, right? So they got him probably on a favor. I think yeah. But really, it's Dave Bautista, it's Vin Diesel, and it's the girl from Battlestar Galactica whose name I can never remember. Katie Sackhoff. Yeah, no, no, guys, Dave Bautista is in the third movie. You're forgetting about Dave Bautista. He's
He
kind of
was
the yeah.
in, when
He's
was his first big like when so 2013, so that was before
Yeah,
Guardians, right?
1 year before Guardians, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because that would have been his big thing, right?
yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, well see so they don't have a ton of people they have to bring back,
Well, and
obviously.
Dave Bautista's dead, and you don't have to bring back Katie Sackhoff because it's basically just James Bond in space. So you just get a new girl for that one. So
Honestly,
really, for
okay, if you're
Carl
thinking
Urban,
about
that's it. That's all you have to bring back if you want to even continue that.
well, okay, if you're just thinking about maximizing fan service value, like if you're thinking about Vin Diesel in his giant LA home being like, what do the fans want? Like what do the Riddick fans really want? I feel like you want to bring back uh Jack slash I've already forgotten her name. What's her
Kira,
name? Kira. I know she's dead, but you just bring her back anyway. You find a way. It's not like you can't find a way in this franchise to just randomly bring someone back. A clone, who cares? You know, you can do whatever you want. I feel like if you're thinking about maximum fan service, you probably want to bring her back because I know that generally Pitch Black has a better critical reception and, reputation, but I think the cult status of this franchise, a lot of it is coming from this movie. So I think you'd want to try to bring back as much of this movie as possible. I would think. I don't think it would really behoove him to try and go back to the success of Pitch Black because you've jumped the shark way far beyond that. You can't go back now. You just can't. So I think you keep with the crazy giant lore world building, insanity and all the one-liners and all the really cool guy action stuff and some sort of James Bondy love interest that he can like kind of care about but not really and stuff like that. You know, do that sort of thing, right? So I feel like you could make another one of these for I don't know, not as much as a Fast and the Furious movie because those are like in the $300 million like range at this point. Those are crazy expensive because those have an unbelievably stacked cast. But I feel like if you're going to continue this franchise, you still probably need over $100 million for sure. Probably closer to two. We've got a super chat. Hugh appears to be dead, so that's a shame. We liked Hugh. Anyway, Matthew Leach for the super chat. Thank you very much. Says, can you ask to be on the next EFAP? It's their top 10 best and worst movies of 2025. So I'd love to hear you shit more on Sinners and one battle after another. Well, I tell you what, those would not be on my list of the best 10 of the year. But honestly, I struggled to come up because I was talking to Friggy
Best
about
and
this.
worst, right?
Oh, it's a best and worst. Oh, in that case, yeah, absolutely. I was thinking just best. I was struggling to come up with 10 movies I genuinely really liked. Honestly, I did not see as many new movies this year. It's another reason that we're not going to cover the Oscars movies this year.
I'm not going to watch
Fuck
any of
it.
that. I'm not watching those.
No.
I had
just
so
not-
much fun watching
not in the
this
mood.
shit, like watching these Chronicles of Riddick movies, and I was reminded of a time when I enjoyed myself with cinema.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been watching a lot more older movies recently. For the very first time, this is one of those, like, I can't believe based on when I grew up that I did not watch this movie sooner, but I watched Wedding Crashers for the first time.
Oh, nice.
Hilarious movie.
Yeah.
Very enjoyable.
I am a little surprised to hear that myself. Didn't
I know, right? Like, especially because it takes place in Maryland and they're like Maryland jokes and stuff. I can't believe I had not seen that sooner, but finally got around to watching that. Thoroughly enjoyed that. I'm watching just a lot of older movies in general. I watched Sabrina with it's the Billy Wilder movie with Audrey Hepburn. That was pretty good. I liked that.
I haven't seen that one.
I like Billy Wilder movies. They're good. What else have I watched recently? Older things, just in general.
Yeah,
I'm not enjoying a lot of new movies coming out recently, so not going to cover the Oscars. I will not be joining the best of EFAP, I don't think, unless something changes. Though, if you're looking to hear more shitting on the one battle after another, at least, got a video coming out about that. Stay tuned. I think I've said all I really need to say about Sinners. I hate it. We did a whole stream covering it, and we went into all sorts of detail. But I think both of those movies really suck, and they're very emblematic of our current state of Hollywood.
The absolute
and
state
industry.
of Hollywood and film today.
Though, if I were to shout out a couple movies that are definitely worth watching, I think I've shouted this movie out before, but Sentimental Value is a really solid drama. One of the better movies nominated for Best Picture last year, so that's worth seeing for sure. And I enjoyed The Money Pit.
That is my response to that. I like that movie too. There were just a couple things I wanted to add to the discussion. I did find it funny that my girlfriend kept referencing the Beautiful World interview from Vin Diesel when he told Thandie Newton, "It's been a long time since I smelled beautiful."
He smells beautiful.
It's been a long time since I smelled beautiful. When did this turn into Beautiful World? When did this turn into I love you?
What a throwback! What a classic!
God, Vin,
Um,
never. It's the one thing somebody said. What we need is a young girl who basically does everything that Riddick does, but better, just to humiliate him and make fun of him, and make him look old and stupid. The one
Vin
thing that I
Diesel
can
would
tell you
never.
is that Vin Diesel will never let that happen.
Yeah, that is the one. That's
It
the one thing about him that I'm like, you know what? He would never let that
it
happen.
will not happen on his
No,
watch.
he couldn't. He couldn't do it. And you know what? Good for him. Good for him that he wouldn't let himself be like girl bossed out of his own star vehicle. No way. No way. He wouldn't do it. And more power to him. More power to him. Matthew Leach asks, Pixar arc when? Yeah, eventually. We'll do that
Yeah,
eventually.
we'll talk about that.
Before the heat death of the universe, we will do that. Honestly, I feel like the next thing to do, unless there's a new movie coming out this week that actually looks good, would be to continue the Disney arc. Is that something you'd be interested in
Yeah,
doing?
I think that sounds like
What's the next one on the list?
The next one on the list is Mary Poppins. So if you'd like to double feature
Oh,
it, we can do
hell
that.
yeah. Well, we'll figure that out. Definitely, we'll be talking about Mary Poppins next Sunday. Maybe the next one on the list as well, depending on how much there will be to talk about. But Mary Poppins, that's a good movie.
Fucking love
Julie
it.
Andrews, she's the goat.
Dick Van Dyke. Not
Yeah,
often that a
that's
man has two slurs in one name, but boy, he pulled it off.
yeah. No Riddick Fury Road then. Honestly, it'd be really funny if a new Riddick movie ripped off Fury Road. That would be pretty funny.
That would be funny, but also
Because all
like,
of these movies are
wouldn't
very okay.
wouldn't that be
Last
kind of
question I
cool?
have before about the Riddick movies before we sign off here. We talked a lot about all the things that 1 and 2 are derivative of. What is Riddick the most derivative of?
Oh. Oh, wait. Hmm. Okay, Riddick is basically a rehash of Pitch Black.
Okay, so
You know,
it's
like,
derivative of itself. Oh no, we're starting to eat our own tail.
yeah.
That's not
So
good.
like, the first 30 minutes, like I said, it's like him. They give a little bit of backstory for how he ended up here, but it's like survival horror kind of thing. He kidnaps a
Okay.
baby wolf pup and trains it to be his dog. He learned he has to fix his own leg because it's broken because he fell in a landslide because the Necromongers couldn't defeat him for real. They had to shoot the cliff off the side of the mountain and cause a landslide and cause him to fall down to beat him. Um, so he
So
fixed
nothing
like
jumps out at you like
and
specifically like
and well, and
a
then the
list of
next
movies.
really honestly like Halloween probably closer is like
Because he just won't die
well no because
and he keeps
the
falling.
second the okay the first 30 minutes is like brief backstory of how we got here. Like, yeah, record scratch. You probably that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation, and then just the situation, right? He like recovers and becomes the master of his domain. The next hour is him as the slasher villain, killing the mercs who he's called to like get like he calls some mercenaries to drop like to so that he can get a ship to get off the planet, and then he kills them like one by one, like a slasher movie villain. And then the last 30 minutes is pitch black again, where like everything gets dark and there are these monsters that only come out when it rains.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's like, yeah,
So
it's
here's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping we'll have a return to form with the next Riddick movie where we stop cannibalizing our own franchise and start ripping off other popular movies of right now. I think that would be good. I can't wait to find out what movies he was inspired by when the next Riddick movie comes out. It'd be
yeah.
pretty funny.
Yeah,
Honestly,
it's
I hope, like if I'm just trying to imagine him ripping off Sinners or something like that.
that would be that would be well that's isn't that sort of pitch black like in a way.
In a way, in a way.
I
Well,
would honestly more rather hope that the next Riddick movie, honestly, I would like a ripoff of Fury Road would be incredible.
that
Like
would be really funny, yeah.
that would be
If he goes and
hilarious.
films it in Australia like he did with Pitch Black,
Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool.
that'd be pretty crazy. I like it'd be even better maybe if he ripped off Fast X.
I can't wait
That
for Fast 11. I hope that happens.
I
I hope they
really
didn't
hope it
spend too
does.
much money on Fast X that the franchise is dead. Because don't forget, guys, Fast X ended on a cliffhanger. We have to know like the entire Hoover Dam is falling on our boy Vin Diesel. We got to figure out what he's going to do. How's he going to
How's he
survive?
gonna get out? He has faith. Will his faith be enough? What happens
Tune
to
in next time.
Ludacris and that plane that crashed? I want that's the answer I need. What is Tyrese and how are Tyrese and Ludacris gonna roast each other in a plane crash?
Will we
What
ultimately defeat the gay agenda?
will Gal Gadot say her lines like she's got a mouthful of molasses? I need to know.
Yeah.
These are the questions I need answered. Dune would be
Well,
kind of
now,
crazy too. See, well, like, okay, so here's the thing, right? Is like, please tell me he steals from Dune or more from Dune. Like, he had the opportunity to do that for Riddick. He could have just stolen from Dune for Riddick, but
yeah.
instead he just went back to the well with
Well,
with like,
a popular Dune movie hadn't come out right before Riddick.
that's true.
So he did, even though the premise of his story already being inspired clearly by Dune in some ways has set him up to continue doing that. He he thinks like, oh, what's popular right now? Clearly, with all this whole franchise has been like, okay, what's popular at the moment? What can we crib from? So hopefully, if he started to like steal things from the Denis Villeneuve Dunes, that would be pretty funny. Be a funny tonal shift.
I
Anyway,
could totally see it happening, honestly.
yeah.
Included, he just gets Timothy Chalamet.
Ooh, someone said he could steal weapons. What if he starts running like the kids in Weapons? He just does like the T-pose
With
kind of
knives in his
run.
hands, though.
Exactly.
Like a
Well,
witch enchants him to run to her, and she thinks she's got him, but he's running with knives, and actually he's been in control the whole time because he's Furion, so he slashes her throat and she's dead. That's how it would have gone if Riddick was there.
that's pretty cool. Listen, if I were there, it wouldn't have gone down like it did. All right. So remember that. Anyway, that's all I have to say about Riddick. I think maybe ever. So thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for the super chats. Hugh, you got any final words for the fine people in chat?
Live your lives a quarter mile at a time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
And remember,
True. Be
getting close with friends always ends bad. For
for
them.
them. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye. We'll see you next time. Talk about Mary Poppins.
Bye.